Come to order, please. Welcome everybody to the November 19th, 2012 meeting of the County Commission. Call roll.
Peter Peters.
Here.
Steve Richard.
Present.
Ron Todd.
Here.
Nancy Brown. Here. Joel Street.
Present.
Richard Winters.
Here.
John Perry. Harry Sims.
Present.
Charles Montana.
Present.
Elsie Castor.
Present.
Steve Grant.
Present.
Tom Bowers.
Here.
Joanne Blankenship.
Present.
Charlie Davis.
Here.
Dickie Renfro. Ian Arden.
Here.
Steve Chambers.
Here.
John Lewis.
Here.
Sonia Kohler.
Present.
Russell Kyle.
Here.
Scott Sands.
Here.
Bill Armstrong.
Here.
Pat Hicks. Robert Goff.
Here.
One present.
Have a quorum.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mayor.
I respectfully request that we amend the agenda, moving public comments from item 16 up to item 10, immediately after the mayor's report. There are countless pieces of legislation here today that you'll be addressing, and I think the public and citizens need an opportunity to expand upon.
Mayor, if you would permit us to go ahead with our prayer and our pledge of allegiance before we entertain any motions. Lawrence Hodge will introduce our guest pastor today.
Here we have Brother Hardy Skipper to pray for us today. Let's everybody stand.
Our Father and our God, as we come before you today, many decisions will have to be made today about important things in our life here as we live upon earth. And Lord, we come before you as humble as we know how and ask that your leadership and your guidance will be in every decision that's made today. Lord, I know many times there's tough decisions that has to be made, and sometimes it's some that don't please some, and maybe it does others, but Lord, I ask you to just lead and guide and direct, and everyone that has part in this and makes the decisions, that you'll lead them and guide them, and they'll be led, Lord, by the way you'd want them to go. And Father, we'll give you the praise and glory and thanks for everything that you do, because all these things that we ask of you, Father, today, we ask it in the name of Jesus Christ, and for his sake, we humbly pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Now we have a pledge of allegiance by Miss Sonia Kohler.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Moderator,
Yes, Mr. Russell.
I'd like to take a motion that we move this, the mayor made up, after the mayor's report.
We have a motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Sims to amend the agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. With the noes have it. Now have the acceptance of the minutes from our previous meeting, and I'd like to point out two of them, typos. One on page 708, down toward the bottom of the page, it says 9 ayes, it should read 9 nays. And over on the next page, 709, we have another typo, that's 2/3 of the way down. It says 5 ayes, it should read 5 nays. So. Yeah. Also on our agenda, it is 2011, it should read 2012.
On page 709, is that the one that says, both says ayes and ayes rather than?
Nays, yes. So, you entertain a motion to amend those.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes with those corrections.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Blankenship, second by Mr. Keller to amend that. Accept. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Notaries and bonds.
Nancy Evans. El Michelle Melvin, Joanne Lynch, Gregory Pierce, Linda Livingston, Carl Cagle, Mary G. Clark, and added this to your list, Elaine A. Taylor.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hodge, second by Mr. Carney to approve the notaries and bonds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now, we'd like to recognize our elected and appointed officials. If y'all stand, please. Sheriff, Mayor, Representative Williams, Dr. Ward, and Randall Lewis. Thank you all for your service. We appreciate it. Okay. Mayor, you want to present some flags?
On Saturday, November the 3rd, the Elizabeth High School Betsy Band won its second state championship in 3 years. In addition to winning the Governor's Cup, which is considered to be the highest award a marching band can achieve in the state of Tennessee, the Betsy Band took home a number of other awards. They received a superior rating in percussion, color guard, and overall performance during the preliminary competition. Also, drum major Katie Pless won first place in the drum major competition. The color guard received first place for the first time in EHS band history. The band was voted the most entertaining and tied for first place in marching. Overall, it earned a score of 93.6 to top second place Page High School by 1.4 points. These prestigious top honors are the result of countless hours of hard work, commitment, and dedication on the part of the students, parents, teachers, and the community. The citizens of Elizabethton and Carter County are extremely proud of EHS Betsy Band and its outstanding achievements. They have represented us well. At this time, help me welcome EHS Band Director, Mr. Perry Elliott, and Drum Major, Katie Pless. Katie, Mr. Elliott, we're extremely proud of your
Oh, we're honored to be here. Thank you so much.
and I'd like to present you this flag.
Okay, why don't you take that? Thank you so much. We won it in 2010, and this is 2012, but we'll try to get the odd years.
It's quite an accomplishment. Occasionally, someone plants an idea. Everyone gets on board, and before you know it, we read about a success story. When this occurs in government, it should not go unnoticed. In the fall of 2010 and early spring of 2011, a private citizen, a member of the Sheriff's Department, and representatives of the Agricultural Extensions Office initiated discussions and began cultivating the idea of a county jail garden. Sheriff Mathis immediately pledged his support. He arranged tours of the Johnson City Jail and discussions with administrators of its garden program. Seeing firsthand the tremendous benefits associated with the program, a work group was formed for the purpose of developing a similar program here in Carter County. A member of the Sheriff's Department, having worked Sycamore Shoals Drive regularly, noted a parcel of river bottom land owned by the city of Elizabeth. He was convinced this would be an ideal location for our garden. To that end, Johann Coates was contacted as to the possibility of the county using this tract for agricultural purposes. Johann, excited as to the unlimited benefits of this venture, prepared an initial draft memorandum of understanding between city and county. Shortly thereafter, both the city council and county commission entered into an agreement pertaining to a 2+ acre tract of land. This same member of the Sheriff's Department obtained a small monetary donation from the Downtown Business Association, which was used to purchase a tiller and other hand tools to work the land. He, the private citizen and a member of the UT Extension Office, made numerous contacts throughout the community and received countless donations in the form of plants, seeds, and other much appreciated in-kind gifts. Johnny Mills, ETSU, and the American Legion were more than happy to support the venture. Once initiated, the Sheriff's Department provided direct supervision of the trustees working in the garden and food service areas. Keith Hart was extremely instrumental in that he and other staff at the Extension Office provided educational materials, training as needed, research-based information, and a tremendous level of support in various aspects of community development and public relations. Also involved were the Department of Human Services, Vocational Rehabilitation, Elizabeth City, and Carter County vocational programs. The first garden was installed in 2011 and consisted of approximately 3/4 of an acre. It yielded approximately 115 bushels of produce. Among the fruits and vegetables raised were lettuce, greens, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, cantaloupe, okra, radishes, and watermelon. The market value of the first harvest was estimated at $5,000. The 2012 garden was increased in size to approximately 2 acres and yielded 288 bushels of produce with a market value of over $8,000. The jail benefits from the garden in that it now has a supply of fresh, locally grown food to serve the inmates housed there. These foods are available at significantly reduced cost, thus a savings to our taxpayer. Also, the inmates' hands-on experience will increase their gardening skills, from planting to harvest, as well as their knowledge of nutrition, food safety, and food preparation. I'm extremely proud of all the members of the work group for their vision, high level of determination, and commitment. They are to be commended for their proactive stance. They quickly identified all the benefits, justified the needs, and took immediate actions to implement. This is extremely rare in that more often than not, we are considered to be experts when it comes to identifying a few reasons why a venture should not be initiated, thus no progress at all. There are 3 individuals that have done a considerable amount of the grunt work. Without their level of dedication and support, we could not have achieved this level of success. These people are with us today. Would you please help me welcome to the podium John Huber, Brenda Warner, and Beth Wolf.
Thank you. Well, just accept this on behalf of all of the Garden Committee and especially the sheriff for supporting us and allowing us to proceed with it. It's proved to be a successful and a win-win situation for everybody, and we're just happy that it is where it is, and we hope to improve it as we go on and plant this year's garden, 2013, with some additional expertise that's come to us recently. So we're happy about that, and we thank you very much for the recognition.
Mr. Mayor. So, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Elizabeth Carter County Foundation, we appreciate this, awarding this grant to the county. Sheriff Pappas, John Huber, Keith Hart, and others. The grant was the best written grant that we've received in 3 years. Naturally, I would say that because I'm biased. However, it wasn't me that said this. It was Ms. Terry Hawley of our East Tennessee Foundation in Knoxville. We're an affiliate of East Tennessee Foundation in Knoxville. And we've been able to award for 3 years grants, small grants to community efforts such as this. And this was a great effort. Whoever thought this up needs commended because it has saved taxpayers some money. Thank you.
And again, I'll just add, I know that Keith Hart didn't receive a plaque today, and neither did Sheriff Mathis, but those two guys, you know, Keith, stand up. I mean, come on, Sheriff.
We're going to best stand up because she wrote that grant.
Mayor's report. Just so happens, Mr. Von Cannon, that's the first issue of the mayor's report because there's a matter of accepting those funds. As far as the grant's concerned, John Huber did contact me in July for the possibilities of obtaining a support grant for the jail garden for the East Tennessee Foundation. If awarded, the funds will be used to acquire much-needed materials and tools for the program's expansion. I contacted Ms. Terry Hawley, Senior Vice President of Programs and Regional Development, to obtain an application along with eligibility information because there was some question of whether or not a municipality could receive those grants with considerable assistance from them. On August 7th, we submitted a grant application with a request for the maximum amount of $2,000. On October the 24th, Mr. Michael Clamrock, President and CEO of the Foundation, advanced correspondence notifying me that the Board of Elizabeth and Carter County Community Foundation approved Carter County government to receive a grant in the amount of $1,500. Each of you have been provided a copy of the letter. Therein, he outlined the requirements that are to be met. In order to raise public awareness of the foundation, we are to acknowledge the grant and the support of the foundation among our annual funders. In addition, the foundation is to be acknowledged in all appropriate programs and publications, printed materials, or media coverage pertaining to the project, as well as a link to the foundation's website. The link has been placed under the public notices windows of cartercountykn.gov. Since the actual award was for an amount less than that requested, a revised budget along with the signed copy of the award letter was submitted to Mr. McClamrock on October 31. On November the 9th, the Elizabeth and Carter County Community Foundation presented checks to all the entities that received the grant. John Huber on that day was presented with a check in the amount of $1,200, which equates to 80% of the actual grant award. Each of you also was provided a copy of the check. The final report must be filed with the foundation on or before November 29th, 2013. The report must include information pertaining to the project's outcome, also a financial summary indicating how the funds were expended must be attached. Upon receipt of the report, the foundation will disperse the remaining 20%, which equals $300. The question as to the county's acceptance of these funds under the terms and conditions outlined for the grant requirements was taken before the Budget Committee and approved. Thus, Mr. Chairman, a motion would now be in order to accept these monies with the understanding that the funds are to be used for the sole purpose of expanding the garden program.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Brown to accept these funds. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Steve Ritchie. Lawrence Hodge. Nancy Brown. Joel Street. Richard Winters. Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Montana. Elsie Tester.
Along with Boyd Carter County, I have a conflict of interest, vote about to be voted now, right, declare the argument, I'm conscious of the obligation, issues, and citizens, this party represents,
Stephen Ray. Tom Allen. Brad Blankenship. Charlie Bailey. Dick Renfro. Ken Arden. Steve Chambers. John Lewis. Sonia Coler. Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong. Ken Hicks. And Robert Collins. All ayes.
All ayes, motion carried.
Tennessee Code annotated 7-86-105B1. Except as otherwise provided by law, an emergency communications district shall have a board of directors composed of no fewer than 7 nor more than 9 members to govern the affairs.
Controversial legislation that we're going to be looking at this year. I'm just looking around the room and Representative Hill, I thought was going to be here. I was going to introduce him, but if he comes in, would you introduce Representative Hill? Because, as you know, and like I said, I'll be very brief. My wife had some surgery last week, and she's having a very difficult time. So when I finish here, I apologize, but I want to head home and take care of her. She's taken care of me for 44 years, so at least I can take care of her for 2 or 3 weeks, I suppose. Some of the things I want to talk about. The first thing I want to do, and Coach, I'm not here asking for your vote again today. The election's over. But Coach Charlie Bayless, Commissioner Bayless, probably the first person on this commission was inducted into the Carter County Sports Hall of Fame Saturday night. So I think I'd like to recognize Mr. Bayless if we all know. We won't get into the history of Coach Bayless because
would be here a couple of days if we did that.
2 days to do it.
Yeah, it takes about 2 days to go through it all. A couple of things I wanted to talk about, and I talked with Commissioner Hill earlier this morning. As you know, the redistricting, Carter County now has 2 state representatives, and we have 2 state senators, which I feel is an asset. It'll be nice to have some help with state issues. So I'm really excited about that. And Representative Hill and Senator Ramsey and Crow and myself, we've all worked well together. Tim's new, of course, coming on board, but we'll continue to work together and work for Carter County. And the one thing I talked with Tim about today, 2 years ago, the governor took the work program for state prisons out of the budget. And it's always tough to go against the governor, but Scotty Campbell and myself drew up legislation to put that back in the budget, and we were able to pass that to keep the work camp open up there. And I don't think it's going to happen this year. Last year, we didn't have to do anything. The governor had it in his budget, and I think he will this year. But if it does, I'll talk with Tim, and we'll fight that fight again if we need to. There's been a lot, you've read a lot in the paper about the Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare, whichever you want to call it. As a state, we have to make a decision, and the governor will be the first to chime in on it, and of course then it'll go to the legislative body, whether to let the federal government run that program or run it on a state level. My personal feelings on it is that the state can do a much better job than the federal government. But whatever the governor decides to do, I'm going to support him. He has the staff, they have the knowledge to look at both sides of the issue, and whatever they determine is what I'm going to go along with. They know a lot more about the health care program than I do. But in the past, I've seen that the state does a much better job. And there's a misconception out there that if we don't do anything, that it just goes away. That's not true. It's here to stay, the health care program. So we need to make the best of it. And we get to national, we're going to roll up our sleeves and do what's best for the citizens in our community. Sheriff and his staff, some of his staff, Mr. Street here today. An ongoing problem we've had through the state of Tennessee, and especially here in Carter County in the rural communities, is the meth houses. And we passed legislation last year that set up a database to where we can go in now and we can find out who's buying the ingredients, the Sudafed, to make this products. And it's helped some, but it was like, and I made the statement on the House floor with the legislation we passed, we actually put a Band-Aid on a bleeding artery. It's gotten worse, I know. I think last year there were about 28 meth houses, and Sheriff will correct me if I'm wrong, about 28 that were busted, and this year it's been over 40. So it's a continuous problem, and our local department has done a tremendous job. I've worked very closely with the drug task force, and hopefully we'll have some new legislation this year that's going to even make it tougher. And I was disappointed with our legislative body last year. We had the experts come in and tell us what we needed to do to eliminate this problem, but we turned our head. A lot of our members gave in to the big pharmaceutical companies, and we didn't do what we really needed to do to eliminate this problem. And to me, it's still the #1 problem in our society is drug abuse. And until we can get that under control, we're going to go down a very tough road. And I'll take questions after I finish all this. Another thing I want to talk about is I've had 2 meetings with the Commissioner of Transportation in the last 6 months, and
we've got a problem, a huge problem, and I think Jack will back me up on this with funding for our infrastructure, for our roadways, for our rails. Our revenues are decreasing at about 3 to 4% per year. The only funding that we get is from the gasoline tax, and I'm not up here saying we need to raise gasoline tax, but we are looking at some different alternatives. But we have to come up with some additional revenues, or our infrastructure, especially in our rural counties, is going to fall apart, or we're going to put the burden on the property owners. And we just can't keep going down that slippery slope of increasing taxes on the property owners. So we're looking at several different things. The commissioner informed me of maybe putting a road fee on electric cars or hybrid cars. You know, it's great, we're getting great gas mileage, but we're buying less gallons of gasoline. So that's a problem. It's going to be very controversial, but we have to find a solution for that. The fish hatchery, I've had some meetings and conversations with the Lieutenant Governor, with the administration, Susan Whitaker, Tourism, TWRA Commissioner Ed Carter, and Nat Johnson, Assistant Commissioner. Right now, the Lieutenant Governor, myself, and TWRA are working on a plan to possibly fly out to Texas so everyone can get a first-hand look at the type of hatchery we're going to be building. So we're working on that hard. You know, it's been through the State Building Commission. Everybody knows exactly what's going on. The question is the funding. My recent conversation with the Lieutenant Governor, he suggested maybe that we bond. It's about a $21 million project. I think TWRA has $5 million that they're going to put into this program. We may come back to the county and the city and ask for a small amount of funding, basically just to make us a part of it. We're going to benefit in this area, Carter County, more than any place else in the state, even though it's a statewide project. So we hope to get that funding this year. And as it states in the letter, it takes a lot of time. I'm pleased with how far we've got. I was on the State Building Commission for 2 years, and I know how it works. Once you get it approved, eventually you're going to get it done. I've seen some projects take 8 to 10 years. This one's not going to take that long, but once it's passed by the Building Commission, it's pretty much a done deal. The other piece, this doesn't have a lot to do with government as it does politics. There's legislation to close the primaries, which I totally oppose. In other words, you have to either register as a Republican or a Democrat. If you belong to the Libertarian Party or you're an independent, you're kind of left out in the cold. And the problems with closed primaries in Carter County, if you're a Democrat, you want to register as a Democrat, you won't be able to vote in the local elections because that's a Republican primary in the local elections. And the same holds true in West Tennessee. If you're a Republican in West Tennessee, then you're not going to be able to vote in those local elections unless you register as a Democrat. So, you know, I feel like the two parties, Democrats and Republicans, they don't pay for the elections, for the primaries. We all pay. All of us taxpayers, that's where the money comes from. So for them to have the authority to say who can vote and who can't, I really think that takes away our rights and our privileges as citizens, and that's a piece of legislation that I'm going to fight tooth and nail. Other than that, you know, just one other thing I want to touch on, and then I'm going to be out of your hair and be out of here after I take some questions. There's a lot of controversy in the county about the size of the commission. And I'm not going to get in the middle of that. I'm just a citizen. If it comes to a vote or something, I'll vote the way I feel on it. That's up to this commission and to make that decision. But I have learned in my 6 years as a state legislature, we have 99 legislators. It's not the amount as it is the leadership and people working together. I had the privilege, as I said, of being Speaker of the House for 2 years. We had 50 Republicans, 49 Democrats. We had committee chairs split equal. We had all committees split equal. This was 2009, 2010, right in the middle of the recession. That was the worst part of the recession. We balanced our budgets without any tax increases. We passed legislation. People had to vote their conscience, and that's what it comes down to, is vote your conscience. I don't care if you got 5 commissioners, 15 or 50. We have to work together. And it's not us against them, them against us. We're all Carter County. We're all together. We're all together. We make the decisions for the benefit of the people. And that's it for me. I'd be glad to take any questions. Mr. Von Kemp. You're recognized, sir. Oh, I'm not the chairman, I'm sorry.
Our legislative body has gone on record as being against unfunded mandates. We hope that you will stand with us, because those unfunded mandates always wind up on the back of the taxpayers. That's the only way, I guess, you can get your funding. The second thing is that I would personally want you to look at is that the state of Tennessee is the #1 abuser of senior prescription drugs, mainly coming out of the mills and drug mills of Florida. Something needs to be done about that, because I know we're not that sick as a state. I hope we're not. But we are the #1 abuser of prescription drugs in seniors. So would you look at that, sir?
Yes, to answer that part first, your second part first. One is, we probably have the most abuse of physicians in Upper East Tennessee. It's not always the seniors, you know, getting so many different medications as it is the doctors or the pharmacists writing those prescriptions. As we've seen in the news here lately, getting drugs from China that are not approved. I think a couple have already been busted in this area, so you can imagine how many are out there. And we did pass some legislation last year to increase those penalties for people transporting out of Florida. And it has to be a nationwide thing. States have to get on board with other states to close these pill mills down. We did a great job in the state of Tennessee of shutting down these, and with this body's help, and all the municipalities throughout the state shut down the synthetic drugs. And like I said, we're working on this meth problem. But you're right, drug abuse, whether it's illegal or legal, drug abuse is to me, our #1 issue. And I was solely disappointed in this presidential election when I didn't hear either candidate address that problem of drug abuse. 10 years ago, the war on drugs, you know, you heard it from every candidate. What happened? It's not popular anymore. It's not popular anymore, so you don't hear much about it. And your first question on unfunded mandates, we've got an unfunded mandate from Washington with the exchange, healthcare exchange. I feel like we need some type of program in this country for healthcare, but we don't need it coming from the federal government. Let's do it on the state level. That's an unfunded mandate, and I don't like it. And I don't like any unfunded mandates, and I would never vote for an unfunded mandate that will affect Carter County. We have one that's been out there for a long time. The mandate, the only one I know of, is with our school systems. You have to have the same amount of funding that you had the year before, and that's something that was passed years and years ago. And I'm not for repealing that, because in some municipalities you wouldn't have any money for education. So, does that answer your question, Mr. Buckhead? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman Lawrence. He chairs, how many committees you chair? About
Two.
two?
I just want to thank you for what you've done for people of Carter County. And I don't have any questions for you, just since you've been our representative, Carter County's been blessed for what you've done. And I'm not going to go into all the things that you've done, because I don't want to be up there all day, but with all the road projects that you've accomplished since you've been there, with all the grants for schools, the grants for airports, for what you've done in Tennessee Technology, for the help you gave us when we were working on the expansion of Snap-on Tools. You know, you've shown real leadership. And I'm 63 years old, young man.
Same as me.
Yeah, young man. Yeah. And in my 63 years, I have never seen a time that we needed good quality leadership as we do this day. And it's a must. And I remember as a young man growing up, I've heard the old people say that the Tennessee line ended long before it got to Carter County. It ended down around Knoxville or Greenville. But over the past years, I've noticed that line's getting closer and closer, and that line now is all the way in Carter County. You brought the state line into the county now. And the county's been blessed by your work, and I'd like to commend you on your leadership. You went to Nashville. You didn't go with a chip on your shoulder. You didn't go in there knowing everything and having all the answers. You just went in there and rolled up your sleeves. You didn't go to Nashville to represent a party. You didn't go to Nashville to represent some little clique or some little organization. You went there to represent the people the best way you knew how. And you have been very successful. And thank you for what you've done. And whatever you do, you will be successful because you're a true leader.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate those kind words, Steve, but I haven't done anything. We've done it together as a community, in this body, and as a state government. When I went to Nashville, I went with common sense, and I went down and made friends. I had some of my friends comment to me on election day that I didn't have any friends in Nashville and I wouldn't be able to get anything done. If they had about 3 days to come down, I'd introduce them to all my friends. It would take about that long. You know, it's building relationships. It's not politics. It's building relationships is how you get things accomplished. And I've been able to do that at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. I have lunch with either a commissioner, assistant commissioner, someone from the governor's staff, or someone from the speaker's office or the speaker, and get to know people. That's what it's about. You get to know people, and you don't criticize. You may not agree on issues, and you learn from your mistakes. You make mistakes, you learn from them. You don't dwell on them. Year after year after year, you don't dwell on the same mistakes that we've made in the past. You move on. Learn by it and move on, and don't hold any bitterness. Just work together. Just work together. And thank you all. And I took more time than I should, but I really appreciate it. I love Carter County, and I'm glad to have the help. I wish Tim had shown up here today, but believe you me, I have a lot of friends in Nashville. I have a lot of friends in this community, and I thank Carter County for their overwhelming support. It's most votes I've gotten in an election in so long, and I love Carter County, and I love everyone that's here today, and I hope everybody here is my friend. I want to be your friend first. Thank you all. Thank you.
If you would see about getting us more reimbursement from the state for the state prisoners, that's one of our top priorities.
Absolutely, we'll have legislation, which we have for the last 6 years, to get more reimbursement, and we increased it, I think, by like $2 last year. So we'll keep that on the table. There's, like I say, some things that takes time, and hopefully our funding, our finances, our
sales tax are not coming in on budget, but corporate taxes and franchise taxes are. We're about 80 million right now above budget for the year. So looks like we're going to be okay. We had about 500 or 600 million from last year, which hopefully we stuck in the rainy day fund. I think the governor did that. I don't think he's going out and spend any on his own. If he did, he's illegal. But we're in pretty good shape in the state of Tennessee, and I'll be working on some
Yes, Mr. Williams, let me say, once again, congratulations on your reelection. I've had to call Mr. Williams several times in Nashville over the time that he's been down there. He's never failed to return a call, whether it's an education issue, highway issue, or someone, a person just needing help in this county. We appreciate it. I want to say something. I heard we're talking about the roads infrastructure a few minutes ago. I want to mention to you that something that we brought up that came through the planning commission last month to us about the Highway 19E, Valley Forge. And we need red lights, stock and style. Over the years, 19E really from right here, the east side of the entrance all the way up as more businesses have come in. People there it's a dangerous stretch of highway, especially we've got a survey right now. The state is going to come back with us on the number of accidents and deaths that we've had on this 3-mile stretch from the red light east side through Valley Forge. You know, we have a school there, we have a church, we have several churches there. One church, Free Will, has over 1,000 people there on Sunday. Anytime you make a left-hand turn, whether you're going up the road or down the road in Valley Forge, you're taking your life in your own hands. Especially during the summer months when the lake traffic, sometimes it takes maybe 10, 15 minutes. Now, I know we need one up here at Betsy Town Square where Arby's is at. We need one right there. I know that's a city issue, but I'm also representative of that. My district runs down through there, so I feel like I'm obligated to mention that. And we would appreciate any help that you could give us in the future. We're waiting for this information to come back on the number of accidents. If you could help us on a red light in that area up there. And once again, I thank you for everything you've done for this county. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Chambers. And we, you know, the state has done several surveys in that area. And it's a shame that you have to have so many accidents and deaths before you can get anything accomplished. They'll call it a safety issue when common sense you should be able to drive up there and look and spend a week and do a survey and see what a dangerous highway that is. And, you know, we're all, and I'm guilty of it too, I'm always in a rush where I'm going. I don't like stopping at traffic lights, and the safety should come first. And 19E is not an interstate highway. You know, that's a community up through there and a business community. And we do need traffic signals. We need one where we turn 321 off 19E. We need a signal right there. I've had an accident there. My wife's had an accident there. So, of course, one was my fault, hers wasn't. But you know, I appreciate that, and that's something I've been working on, and hopefully we can get something accomplished in that area to make it safer for our citizens. You know, that's the biggest reason for the Gap Creek Road is the safety issue. And I ran legislation 3 years ago or 4 years ago to get the big trucks off that little road out there. And that took like an act of Congress to get that done, but we got it accomplished. We need to look at those safety issues. Coach?
Williams, I agree with my co-worker, Mr. Vaughn County, about the mandate for the state. If that didn't mandate that state money, sure we just said have a tax rate of $2.50, we could have a $2 tax rate here in Carver County. To mandate the money.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Oh, you're talking about the mandates.
Yes, sir.
You're opposed to mandates.
Yes, sir.
So am I. And I will not vote for any mandate on Carter County. The Mayor's Association, they let me know on that in a heartbeat when it's a mandate, so.
We'll have a mayor give you a podcast that big old fish.
But that's it. And, you know, elections are in the past. I know, I didn't get every vote in this room, and it doesn't matter. In fact, some of the department heads even had their families at polls working against me, but that's in the past. I'm going to work with anyone. I don't care what their political agenda is. So, but thank you all, and I've taken way too much time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We all appreciate you coming and doing everything you can for Carter County, working with us closely and keeping us in the loop what's going on in Nashville and looking out for all of our best interests. Thank you.
Thank you, and hopefully I'll make it back in January. We go back in the second Tuesday, but we'll have 2 weeks organization period, and I'll be home for a little bit, so hopefully I can give an update on some of the legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Armstrong.
I would like to make a motion, if it's in order, at this time, that this body supports the continuation for the pursuit of the Elizabethan hatchery, or Elizabeth. I'd like to make that motion that we support the continuation of this process.
Motion by Mr. Armstrong, second by Mr. Davis, to support the continued efforts to bring the fish hatchery to Elizabeth. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now we have our committee reports. We'll start with the landfill committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just a brief report. There's a lot of things that's going on in the landfill committee. I won't bring them up here today, but they are in your minutes, and can tell you about the things that we're working on, some cost-saving ideas that are currently in the works. Why I'm here today, first off, I would like to say about American Recycling Days. We had a little booth set up, thanks to Mr. Charles Von Cannon, who headed this project. This Saturday at Food City was gracious enough to let us set up there. Commissioners that volunteered their time were Mr. Von Cannon, of course, Sonia Colors, Pat Hicks, and myself. We worked the booth along with Mr. Lyons came. Mayor Humphreys dropped by. We had a couple of state people, Jan Compton, and who was the gentleman?
Greg,
he was from Nashville.
no, it's Nashville. He was
Yes.
a big boy.
But we appreciate everybody's help, and a couple of citizens that volunteered. She's a teacher at Happy Valley, Kathy Silver, and Rachel Bowen. So we appreciate their efforts. The number one thing I want to talk to you about today is a program that I introduced to the landfill committee, Mr. Montana.
Greg Harris.
Greg Harris.
From Nashville.
We appreciate everybody's support there. Like I said, the number one thing that I wanted to talk to you today is about a recycle incentive program. I passed a little chart out to you earlier when we got here today. I'm sorry I didn't get that in your folder, but it gives a brief explanation of who this recycling incentive program is for. The eligible employees would be the landfill workers, cafeteria workers in our school systems. Carter County Jail has a couple there, as well as our janitors in our school systems and our janitorial staff in Carter County public buildings. Now the key to this thing is growth over $50,000 base. And this, Attorney Bowers, I was speaking to him the other day, and he said, Joe, I don't know if you got your point across about the base, but the base is there. That $50,000, how we came up from that, I went back and pulled the files, had Ingrid pull them for me, what amount of money that we were bringing in 2010, 11, and 11, 12 projections, and that $50,000 base comes from there. We were doing about $44,000, and last year, through this program that this attaches to, we grew that to $66,000. Now that's revenue. That's not volume. Carter County would retain that $50,000 base. Until we hit that $50,000, there would be no bonus pay. If you look at your chart, it shows the $10,000 just shows the amount that it breaks it down into categories, what the amount would be. I'm suggesting a 35% bonus, funds available for bonus. The chart brings it all down. Our total employees are 202, and it just breaks down what the benefits and what the amount would be, the gross amount, and what the net amount would be for these people. A $10,000 growth is not a large bonus. It would net out to $11.84. If we go on out, a $25,000 growth would net out over and above the $50,000 base. Remember this, would net $29.60. If we jump over to $100,000 growth, it would be $118.40 net take on pay for one of these employees. Now, the key here also is additional funds for the county. We're just trying to open up conversations that continue our growth, because we put a great program into effect last year, but without an additional plan, that will become stale as well. We'll continue to gather all of the recycled products from the schools that we're doing, but it will have a place where it tops out. I hope through this program that it creates more awareness and we can grow the program. Just a few things to keep it brief and not take up much time. I wrote down some things last night, typed it out, that I just want to say about. Our goal is to reduce waste and save our natural resources. We want to create a substantial growth, a plan to grow our recycling program. This program rewards employees for extra work they're already doing, and also encourages them to promote recycling both professionally and personally. This will help get these employees actively engaged in the concept of growing our recycling program, because they will have a vested interest. This will filter out into our homes and communities to help extend the life of our landfills that we currently use. Once again, I want to point out that this incentive plan is based solely on revenue, not volume. Reason being, we can't control the markets as to the price. Naturally, if we don't take in more money, we can't pay a bonus. Benny keeps me aware of the price of cardboard. A couple of months ago, it dropped to $80 a ton. And Benny has, held on to that, and he's built up. I think he told me he had 160,000 pounds of recycled cardboard. Probably about half of that is coming out of this new program, our school system. And he sells that at the highest points he can. But once again, we can't control the market. So if the market stays high, it does generate more revenue. Hopefully this will still increase volume, but it's not based on volume. We just can't pay on volume. I believe this plan will create a conversation which in turn creates awareness, and then awareness will create action and results. We currently do not have a program in place, although we have had conversations about streamlined recycling. If streamlined recycling ever becomes a reality in some way, I think this program could only help it to succeed. With that said, I want to give you an example of why I think this will work. Last week, there was an article Mr. John Thompson wrote in the Johnson City Press. And the next day, I got a call from this young lady, excited. I'm going to introduce her. She's going to speak briefly about what our employees are already doing. But she said, I'm so excited about the program. I've been working and trying to find grants to help this work. Well, we didn't have that before. You know, this is to get people excited about growing our recycling program. She's the supervisor of our cafeteria personnel in Carter County. At this time, I would ask Ms. Marissa Potter to come up and talk to us a little bit about the program that's already in effect and what she thinks of this new program. Ms. Potter.
Good morning. My name is Marissa Potter, and I'm the Director of Student Services for the Carter County School System, and part of my job is the School Nutrition Program in Carter County. And I have been working closely with Mr. Street on a lot of things. Chris Mathis and I started a few years ago, most of you are familiar with the Clean Teams program, that we would take area high school students and talk to the elementary, put on a program. I think we came here one night and entertained some of the commissioners. Also, in the school nutrition program, a couple of years ago, we began recycling our oil. So we take our cooking oil, and we have a local gentleman here. He puts out barrels. We fill up the barrels. He comes, picks them up, and he turns that into diesel fuel. So we were already pretty excited about doing a lot of recycling with what we could. And the biggest thing right now is the cardboard recycling. All of my produce, groceries, freezer items, that all comes in cardboard boxes. And what were we doing with them? We were putting them in the dumpster. So that was it was a terrible thing that we were just throwing those in there for two reasons. One, we weren't recycling that, and two, it was filling up my dumpsters. So that's another added expense, you know, to get them to come and empty the dumpsters. So this is a wonderful program, and thank you for your support with that. My ladies and gentlemen, we're breaking down those boxes. We scurry out to the containers and just put those in there, and I think it's helped tremendously. Hopefully, if this continues, maybe even I'll be able to save some money by not having, maybe I could cut out a dumpster or a delivery once a week, you know, that they would come and dump it for us. So not only do I feel like it's helping as far as recycling, but it's helping my program as well. Also, my ladies and gentlemen are very excited about that. They're bringing their cardboard from home and putting in those recycling bins. I think it's helped as far as the children. They realize now that there's recycling bins for cardboard and paper, so instead of just putting that in the trash, which is going to fill up the landfill, we are raising awareness with the children and all the teachers and my folks. So I wanted to give you that update and just say thank you so much for your support for that program, and anything that we can do with the school nutrition program, please don't hesitate to call us. And if you want to come have lunch with me one day, I certainly welcome you to do that.
Thank you very much. I ask for your support when Mr. Six presents this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Street. Budget Committee.
Okay, we'll go ahead. Budget Committee recommended this motion be presented this morning to approve the performance bonus program for 1 year trial basis. I make that motion at this time.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Sisson, second by Ms. Cullen.
Mr. Chair,
Discussion.
thank you. And I appreciate everything that we're doing at the schools. We have an opportunity to take our recycling program to the ultimate level. We've got most of the infrastructure in place now. To really take it to the next level, we need to look at single stream. Now, I've introduced that, we've talked about it. Marshall County is a good example. 2010-11, they actually generated revenue in the amount of $260,000 just from the recyclables. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about these programs, and Marshall County does this, Marshall County does that, it doesn't apply here. I'm here to tell you that it's not true. These are recyclables. Their cardboard that year were $133,000. I've been told that metals was the biggest part of that program, why we can't do it here. Metals was only number 2. And keep in mind, if you and your household decide to recycle, Mr. Lyons and I have had many conversations about that, you can probably cut your amount that actually goes into the landfill by 75% possible, because that's all of your steel cans, your aluminum, your plastic bottles, your papers. We have the stuff in place. We've already talked to, as far as the infrastructure is concerned, we've talked to the school system. Hopefully, January, that we'll have an opportunity to look at this, and let's expand it to the community so that we can represent the interest of all people in Carter County, not the select few. At this event on Saturday, I had an opportunity to talk to several citizens, and I asked them what they felt about the possibility of opening up those centers throughout the county so that they would have a closer location and wouldn't have to transport. Those people were very receptive. And as we've heard just a few minutes ago, even some of the custodial help are bringing materials from home. So it's all a part of education. You know, that's the incentive. We have the means to educate the public. We have to start in the schools, as we've talked about. Through our Litter Grant program, we can publish the information and get it in the hands of the students. So I think that anything before we implement this program is premature. And I would say that we need to hold up. The thing about it is, we've got so many problems with funding right now, financing of what goes on the landfill. We've done some things, put critical infrastructure in place, but it costs money. We have to go to the general fund and pull that money out. So here we are, we've got equipment that's old, it's aged. We just bought a truck not long ago. Any what's the price of that? $500 or something? $6,010. It's not a new truck. That truck's not going to last forever, but that's a very important part of our program. We have to have those trucks. We've got scales that have got problems. We've got compactors that have got problems. So I think as we started initially talking about this, we need to do what's in the best interest of all citizens. And if we set a base here, we're going to distribute those monies out, what are we going to do when we need new equipment? That money's gone. So I think that you need to really seriously weigh this. Not that I have anything against the custodial help and the cooks and janitors and all that at school. You know, I appreciate everything they do, and I appreciate what you do in the program. But this is going to distribute the money before we know we've even got a history that we've generated it. And when you look at this, we need that money to build this program so that ultimately we can do like our neighboring counties, Orange Washington County and other areas have done, have the folks deposit their household trash at no cost. And that can be done. That's a reality. It can be done as long as we implement single stream recycling. Sheriff's already committed to provide the labor. We've got applications for grants. So I would caution you at this point to dedicate these monies to anyone other than the department itself and the citizens of Carter County as a whole, because we should be working for what's in their best interest with the goal to reduce the cost. If we get the single stream recycling program online, then those people can go right down to the neighboring school and deposit 75% of their household waste at no cost. And over a year's period, then we could save them tens, maybe even hundreds of dollars in their disposal. So I caution you to at least think about that.
Any other discussion? Mr. Scott.
I'd just like to say a few words about recycling. A friend of mine, we have it set up now. I'm trying to get another customer to save paper, cardboard, bottles, stuff for me. I've got 5 right now, and we set it up that we collect from these 5 families, and once a month, I take whatever, if I get a truckload, I take it down to the recycle place. And the next time we get a truckload, he takes it to the recycle. Newspapers is not a big thing. You can get a Walmart bag, fold your newspaper, and you can stack, I don't know how many newspapers in that little old bag. Everybody here goes to Walmart once in a while anyway. Just to throw them newspapers back in the car, drive by the recycle down there and throw them out. They'll take them. No big problem. If they live close to me, I'll come and get them. But I'd like to see the recycle program really get up and running. And I believe if people in the county would work with us, I think we can get this thing off the ground, and I think we can save the county some money.
Thank you, Mr. Godwin. Any other discussion? Ms. Keller?
I was in this meeting with the other county, and it took 10 years to get it to the point it is right now, from the time we started recycling. We got started about a year ago, really heavy in recycling, so that's 9 years ahead of time. Also, I don't think the school system has agreed to use our facilities at this point. We're still working with them on the recycling program. And also, I don't think the city is on board with this single stream. So I think we need to think about that. This might be a step for the future. I'm for it, but I just don't think we're ready for it right now. So I think if this incentive would help us and get people to continue to recycle, then we need to take each step at a time. Baby steps is what we do.
Thank you, Ms. Keller. Any other discussion? All right. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Buford Peters. Ed Richard. Martin. Nancy Brown. Nancy Brown. Joel Street. Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Montana.
Pass.
Elsie Tester. Stephen Ray. Tom Bowers. Joanne Blankenship. Charlie Bailey. Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden. Steve Chambers. John Lewis. Sonia Coler. Russell Cott. Scott Sands.
No.
Bill Armstrong. Pat Hicks. Robert Goddard. Mr. Fontaine, will change your vote?
I'm going to stick with the pass because this, we haven't discussed this adequately.
Nineteen ayes, motion passed.
Next item, excuse me, Mr. Ronnie Taylor came before the Budget Committee 13th and requested that the listed taxpayers be reimbursed the funds they had inaccurately paid. What happened, the same person owned 2 pieces of property and there was a trailer sitting part of it on each lot, and he got assessed for 2 trailers. But anyway, the amount is $873.98. So I make a motion to refund the identified taxpayers the amounts overpaid, funds coming from the fund balance, $873.98.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Sis, second by Mr. Street. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Buford Peters. Ed Richard. Martin. Nancy Brown. Joel Street. Richard Winters. Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Montana,
Aye.
Elsie Testor,
Aye.
Steve Ray,
Aye.
Tom Allen,
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship, Charlie Bailey, Dickie Redrow, Ken Ray,
Aye.
Steve Chambers,
Aye.
John Lewis, Sonia Coler, Russell Cott, Scott Sands, Bill Armstrong, Pat Hicks, Robert Goff,
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, the engineering services are needed to construct the parking lot for the pods we're setting over here at the jail. So make a motion from the budget committee to approve the transfer of funds from the litigation tax reserve, that's courthouse and jail maintenance, to cover the cost of the engineering, which is $15,300.
I'll make a motion.
Already made. Second.
Motion by Mr. Sis, second by Ms. Brown to approve $15,300 be taken from the litigation tax for the courthouse and jail maintenance to be used for engineering for the parking lot. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Beaver Peters, Steve Ritchie, Ron Todd, Nancy Brown, Joel Street, Richard Winters, Ronnie Trivet, Harry Seas,
Aye.
Charles Montana, Elsie Testor, Steve Ray, Tom Allen,
No.
Joanne Blankenship, Charlie Bailey, Dickie Redrow, Ken Arden, Steve Chambers,
No.
John Lewis, Sonia Coler, Russell Cott, Scott Sands, Bill Armstrong, Pat Hicks, and Robert Goff.
Aye.
Eighteen yeses, motion carries.
Next item concerns the animal shelter. They need a fire alarm security system. Once it is completed, this item was not included in the construction contract. So the Budget Committee recommends, and I make a motion to approve the security system bid received from the only bidder, Night Owl Security, for $5,995 to be paid from the amount appropriated for construction of the animal shelter.
Motion by Mr. Sis, second by Ms. Brown to approve this money for the security system for the animal shelter. Any discussion?
What was that amount again?
$5,995.
Mr. Kyle?
Mr. Sis?
Yes.
Was this taken out of money that was appropriated to build the building?
It will, yes.
It will be taken out later.
Right.
You know what, man?
Coming from the city's portion, 100%.
Their portion will be, see, that total amount that's been appropriated for the construction, half of it was county, half city. This will be paid from that total amount.
Okay.
So it's actually, we're paying half and they're paying half. But we had to approve this so they can go ahead with it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
That was my question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Richard. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Beaver Peters, Steve Ritchie, Ron Todd, Nancy Brown, Joel Street, Richard Winters, Ronnie Trivet, Harry Seas, Charles Montana, Elsie Testor, Steve Ray, Tom Allen, Joanne Blankenship, Charlie Bailey, Dickie Redrow, Ken Arden, Steve Chambers. John Lewis. Sonia Coler. Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong. Pat Hicks. Robert Goff.
All ayes, motion carried.
Okay, the next item is the inmate health care contract. There's some negotiation that went on with several people, and the company agreed to an annual cost of $422,100. So the money that we already had appropriated in the budget will require an additional $36,225 to finish out this year. So what we're going to do, I'm going to make a motion to allocate the funds to cover the contract, the general fund balance, with the sheriff making every effort to recoup the funds within his budget, so that the general fund balance could be restored. In other words, whatever he finds in his budget that could go toward this $36,225 will be put back into the general fund. But this will cover the contract for the remainder of this year. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Sisk, second by Ms. Brown, to appropriate $36,225 to finish out the inmate health care services. With the sheriff making every effort to recoup those funds and be restored to the general fund balance. Is there any discussion? Call roll, please.
Beaver Peters. Steve Ritchie. Mark Hodge. Nancy Brown. Joel Street. Richard Winters. Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Montana. Elsie Tester. Steve Grant. Tom Bowers. Joanne Blankenship. Charlie Bates. Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden. Steve Chambers. John Lewis. Sonia Coler. Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong. Pat Hicks. Robert Goff.
Only one no, motion carried.
Okay, Homeland Security Grant. Andrew Worley presented this to the Budget Committee, and on their recommendation, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of software and hardware for the Sheriff's Department Records Management System through this Homeland Security Grant 2010. The amount of the grant is $19,016.90. Make a motion we approve this.
Motion by Mr. Sisk, second by Ms. Brown, to approve this grant. Any discussion?
Second. Question.
Mr.
How much
Arnold.
is this, what's the price of this software?
The grant is $19,016.90.
What's the price of the software?
Do you remember what that was?
He didn't give us a breakdown, he just gave us a total.
There wouldn't be any matching funds, I believe is what.
It's 100% grant.
No, it's 100%. I thought he was here, but I don't see him now.
Any other discussion? Call roll, please.
Beaver Peters. Steve Ritchie. Mark Hodge. Nancy Brown. Joel Street. Richard Winters. Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Montana. Elsie Tester. Steve Grant. Tom Bowers.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship. Charlie Bailey. Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden. Steve Chambers. John Lewis. Sonia Coler. Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong. Pat Hicks. Robert Goff.
All ayes, motion carried.
Okay, the next item I have is to approve General Fund 101, Budget Amendment Number 3, for 13 items, a total of $204,729.36. Nothing coming from fund balances. Does not affect our fund balance. I'll make a motion that we approve these amendments.
Second. Motion by Mr. Sis, second by Mr. Chambers to approve this line item amendment. Any discussion? I'll call roll, please.
Buford Peters. Keith Ritchie. Ron Todd. Nancy Brown. Joel Street. Richard Winters. Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Von Cannon. Elsie Testor. Steve Moran. Tom Bowers. Joanne Blankenship. Charlie Bailey. Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden. Steve Chambers. John Lewis. Sonia Coler. Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong. Pat Hicks. Robert Goff.
All ayes, motion carried.
Okay. Next, General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment Number 3, 2 items. Total of $54,000, $35. Nothing coming from fund balance. There's a special ed grants that need to be budgeted. I'll make a motion that we approve this amendment at this time.
Second. Motion by Mr. Sis, second by Mr. Lawrence to approve this amendment number 3 to Fund 141. No new money involved. Any discussion?
I'd like to ask Mr. Loach, year to date, how much money have we pulled out of the fund balance for items of this sort?
We're on the general purpose school fund, so if you're talking about general purpose schools, we've not pulled anything from fund balance. But if you're talking about the general fund for the county, tonight would be the first night, or today would be the first day you pulled from that.
This is the thing we always talk about is pulling out of the fund balance. That's what he indicated it would come from.
No, this is no new money, Mrs. Arcan. This is just to recognize.
I apologize, Mr. Transfer. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Buford Peters. Keith Ritchie. Ron Todd. Nancy Brown. Joel Street.
Because I am an employee of Carter County, have a conflict of interest in the proposal I will be voted. However, I declare my heart and my vote answer my conscience and my obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. I.
Richard Winters. Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Von Cannon. Elsie Testor. Steve Moran. Tom Bowers. Joanne Blankenship. Charlie Bailey. Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden.
Even before we Carter County School System, no conflict of interest, stuff like that.
Steve Chambers.
Being an employee of Carter County, have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I comply with my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and my obligation to the citizens and citizens this body represents.
John Lewis. Sonia Coler.
Because I'm an employee of Carter County, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my constituents and to my obligations only to my conscience and obligation to my constituents and the citizens of the body represented. Aye.
Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands.
Aye.
Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Ken Hill, and Robert Goff.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, next item. Federal projects, Fund 142, Amendment number 3, 2 items. Total of $590,767.20. Nothing coming from fund balance. These are federal CTE, rear technical equipment budget, and the recognized first to the top budget. I make a motion to approve this amendment.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sis, second by Mr. Chott to approve recognizing these federal project funds amendments. Any discussion? No new money. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Buford Peters. Steve Ritchie. Lawrence Hodge. Nancy Brown. Joel Street.
Because I am employed with Carter County, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I depart from arguing my vote nature only my conscience and my obligations to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. Aye.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Von Cannon.
Aye.
Elsie Testor.
Aye.
Steve Grant.
Aye.
Don Bell.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship. Charlie Davis. Dickie Ringcraft. Ken Arden.
Being an employee of the Carter County School System, have a conflict of interest, I know that.
Steve Chambers.
Because I am with Carter County, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal that has been noted down right in front of my argument and my vote and my conscience and to my obligations and my constituents and the citizens this body represents. Aye.
John Lewis. Sonia Cole.
See if I can do it right this time. Because I'm employed with Carter County, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal that we voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and the obligations to my constituents and this body, the citizens this body represents. Aye.
Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Robert Goff.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Financial Management Committee.
We did not meet this month, there's no report.
Health and Welfare.
The health and welfare, is the rescue squad, and they'll be coming up under the resolutions.
Thank you. Law Enforcement Committee.
I just have one thing. We talked about, Mr. Ron Street addressed the committee about the fingerprint machine agreement with the city of Elizabeth. The city has agreed to purchase the machine with the county placing the order, and the city to reimburse funds once the machine is received. The city keeping the maintenance on it with Carter County doing labor on it. Is there anything else you like to add? That's it. So there's no money involved, just labor. So I put that in the form of a motion that we accept that agreement.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Arney, to accept this agreement with the city of Elizabeth. No money involved. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. If I missed any other committees, building and grants, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. There we go.
First thing we got is, you got in your package, where the utility type license was to put a machine that will be run with a credit card or debit card only in our Huge's office. This is on a one-year trial basis. We do not, when I say we, the county does not get any money from this, but it will help the citizens of this county. Mary has agreed to it. If you got any questions other than that, I ask she can answer them for you. Put this machine in her office. It'll help the citizens of this county to Because if you've dealt with anything about the driver's license, you know that it's a headache to get in there and do that. So I'd like to put that in form of motion, that we let the city, the state, put this machine in down there.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Chester, second by Ms. Keller, to accept this agreement with the state to put a driver's license renewal machine in the county clerk's office. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Chairman, wait just a minute.
One more issue. Before we stand on that, Mayor, I guess I'll ask you on the roof of the annex, courthouse annex.
Of course, they're proceeding with the design work. Haven't had an update. Did speak with them last week on other matters. They're proceeding as directed by that committee. So hopefully within the next 30 days, we'll be in a position to put it out to bids and be ready to start in the spring. Weather.
And then the last thing was, we had some old, nice micro machines, in the old kitchen of the old jail. I had, they had some, well, Elizabeth Fire Department that showed some interest. In our committee, we decided that the school could use some of this stuff at no cost to them. However, I've been in contact with them since 3 weeks ago. They've not come got it yet with me. So hopefully they'll do something about that in the next little bit. We need to get that out.
Sheriff, would you like to say something?
I was in contact with Ms. Potter this week, and just give them a few more days with the school, and they've been doing some free little lunches and stuff, and been really busy, so they're gonna try to look at that this week and make a decision on any equipment they can use. If not, then we can proceed and move it somewhere else, so that's okay.
Thank you, Sheriff. Mr. Chambers.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pierce with the chairman of the County Planning Commission, and Mr. Rosenhoff would like to address the commission, please.
That's fine. Would you want to wait till we got to these resolutions first, or is there something else?
Well, we can go ahead right now if you need to.
That'd be fine. Come right up. Okay, I'll get right back to you. Right? We won't forget you.
I'm Steve Pierce, Chairman of the Planning Commission. This is Mr. Rosenhoff of the First Tennessee Development District. We've come back to the commission here regarding zoning resolution for amending the zoning resolution in Carter County. Washington and Sullivan counties have already had this resolution in place concerning storage containers and accessory buildings. After being approached by several citizens in my tenure as on the Planning Commission for controlling these accessory buildings and storage containers, you know, I would feel that Carter County would benefit from this resolution. Many of the containers being used today are quite frankly eyesores and maybe unsafe. These are storage containers that off of ships that people use, and many times old cars and buses and trailers are used for storage, and many properties have several of them in residential areas of the county. Depending on where located, many of these are safety hazards. These resolutions define these accessory buildings and gives the Planning Commission a tool to try to regulate these things that everybody don't want. You know, I've had several people come to me about these residential areas having these school buses and truck beds in the residential areas here, and we're sending this back to the commission here to try to effectively give us a tool to regulate these buildings. And it would just be a benefit to Carter County and give the Planning Commission a tool to try to help clean up the county and make it a lot better place and safe for people and protect your property rights. Mr. Rosenhoff, you have anything to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As Chairman Pierce has said, Planning Commission has worked on this resolution, I'd say, about 4 or 5 months. It was revised at least probably 2 to 3 times. We've had a couple of different workshops back to the Planning Commission. And the cargo containers, one of the main issues is when you look at zoning, it talks about accessory buildings. However, what we might define ourselves as an accessory building, others in the county might think of an RV, an old bus, a truck bed, or other kind of structures, or you might call it. They're being used as storage as well. The cargo containers are those ones that come off the ships. Typically, you'll see them at the Walmarts now. Before that, you see them typically over at railroads and manufacturing facilities. Basically, where cargo is being unloaded and then loaded and transported. These cargo containers can be rather large. I have seen them in our region with an attempt to call them an accessory building. So if you can imagine the old sheds, what we would consider a utility building being in the rear yard where we put our mowers or whatever you want to store in them, as compared to these cargo containers, they are being used. Some of the communities that don't define them any differently are having a hard time saying no. You have a cargo container, we don't allow them. And of course, someone might say, well, where does it say in your regulations that you don't allow them? So planning took a proactive approach to try and address this issue. And the second part of it was redefining accessory building or the building itself, and basically saying that it's not. I'll give you an example.
Well, just a minute, if I may
Yes,
interrupt
sir.
you, just say, this resolution is not before us today for consideration if it wasn't in our package.
No, I don't think it was our package.
No, I think we need to have the public involved in this. This is involving industry in our county.
Well, we have to have a public hearing on something like that. If you could have that ready for us for our next meeting, we would be glad to take it under consideration at that time.
Mr. Chairman, while he's here, I'd like to ask one question.
Sure.
I recently saw where they're starting to rent units out of Rio Vista, the portable building place. With those new buildings, on a temporary rental basis, not a rental to own, but just to rent, how would that be viewed? Because it obviously is a temporary situation, but those rent to own would be another matter. Those are good-looking buildings, but how's that going to be perceived with that business in Rio Vista?
And of course,
you need to look at them and then give us.
Absolutely, and we did look at those, and I guess when we're officially on the agenda, we did tackle the temporary uses and using some of these, these portable on-demand storage containers as temporary uses. The proposed resolution does address that, which I guess you'll be taking up at another time.
And again, we come back to the ocean containers that are being rented by A&N in the county. We need to know exactly how that's going to be perceived, because that man could be potentially put out of business if you don't exempt that situation.
Mr. Sis.
The man he's speaking of lives in our community, his family, and he has that business and a number of employees, I think, 8 or 9, something like that. But we better be careful that we're not going to put the man out of business, and he provides a service to construction areas, and I don't see how someone could rent one of those and put it at their house and keep it, pay the rent all, for several years or whatever. But another thing that gets me, we have all these regulations, we have no enforcement. Why would we add more regulations until we take care of the ones that we already have on the books? Let's straighten out those things before we add more things to be looked at.
Thank you, Mr. Sisk. I know this is a legitimate concern to the county. I know it's been looked at by the planning commission, and it is a legitimate problem that we may have in the future, and it needs to be addressed, but it just didn't make it on the agenda today.
Yeah, we have some miscommunications with the staff here, so maybe that's straightened out here.
We'd be glad to consider it at our next meeting.
Yes. Appreciate it.
It is.
Well, it's a resolution to try to help the people of Carter County and protect their property rights, and to try to define this, and like I say, give the planning commission a tool to try to help. We're not trying to put anybody out of business, and if you'll read the resolution, once we get it to you, you'll see that it's all by zones. Agricultural zones will not be affected. We basically look at stacking these things on top of one another, and having them in residential subdivisions, and people will have an opportunity to buy temporary permits or not buy. We will let them if they need to have one, but we by no means are not going to put anybody out of business, and we're just trying to help the people and be proactive in this for Carter County, because I've seen some of the things that's happened in other counties where they've stacked these things 5 and 6 high, and it's and that's just what we're trying to be proactive and look at here.
And I appreciate it. And I know personally all the hard work and research that's been put into this.
Yeah.
And it does need to be addressed, and it will be at our next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Highway Committee.
Mr. Moderator, I'm gonna say something.
Just a minute, Mr. Lewis. Richie's going to give us a little report first, and I'll let you say where you're going.
First of all, we're gonna move that motorboat with all that trash in it.
Mr. Chairman, Highway Committee met Monday, and in the minutes of last month's meeting, we had up on Ripshin Mountain, Rolling Creek Road, we changed part of it, the Ripshin Mountain. But the thing about it was, the committee come back, the people come back before us this last Monday. We didn't get the boundary line set just right, so we had it from A.E. Miller Road back to 19E at the Whiteway Grill. And they wanted to extend it from the 19E out to the Captain Nelson Cemetery on Ripshin Mountain, and make that the boundary line. So I put that in the form of a motion that we change it from A.E. Miller to Captain Nelson Cemetery.
Second.
I didn't get the second. Who did the second? Mr. Lewis. Okay, second by Mr. Ritchie, second by Mr. Lewis. Change the name of this road. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
The only concern I have is this body voted 2 months ago, roughly, before there's any changes, any names of any roads or bridges, there will be a public hearing. There has not been a public hearing of this. So here again, we put together legislation, we put those laws in place, but this body fails to adhere to their own laws.
Well, I think the motion that we voted on back to have a public hearing on was when you name a bridge after somebody or something. So this right here was originally the Ripshin Mountain Road to start with. Right. And then they come along 911 and made it Roaring Creek. All these people want their name back. So that's the motion.
I believe you're correct, Mr. Ritchie. That motion was for bridges.
Exactly.
Any other?
We had the signature of every person on the road, so I don't know
why a public hearing would have been necessary with the signatures of each person.
Well, if it had never been the Rip Shin Mountain Road to start with, then you would have had a public hearing because you would be changing the name. They just want their name back.
Right.
Question on the motion. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Everyone knows down here, is Mr. Brown here, in the Little League? Well, anyway, Mr. Brown them up here before us, if you go out of town down here, if you go Grind State Chevrolet, Little League ball field down there. It's in the city, and we've got several kids from the county that play at that Little League field, plus all the people in the county, in the city, they pay county taxes too. They come before us, wanting Mr. Perkins back here, the highway committee, to do some grading for them and make a parking lot in there, which is gonna cost the county no money. And Mr. Perkins, since the city does not have a road grader, they're asking the county to furnish a road grader, come down there and make that parking lot a little bit bigger for them, won't cost us no money. And they said they would try, the city would get us the fuel. And Mr. Perkins, you agreed to do that, didn't you? So I put that in the form of a motion, to give Mr. Perkins the right to put a county-owned road grader on city property.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ritchie, second by Mr. Street to permit the county to work on city property on this one project. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Chairman, we voted last time and also today to go by the schedule that was on here. Now, we let these two men come up here off the schedule and call them. Now, are we gonna go by the schedule we voted on, or are we gonna keep breaking it with these people call?
Since there were several resolutions involving the planning commission, I thought that might have something to do with that. However, that was a miscommunication. It was not. That's why we told them to come back at our next meeting. Thank you for being so vigilant on that. Any other committee reports I've overlooked? All right. I believe we should be due for a 5-minute recess. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5 minutes. Rigid 5 minutes. Come back to order, please. I know might not have been as long a recess as we'd like to have, but the judge has court still in here for 1 o'clock, so we need to try to help him out. You don't make a judgment, trust me. Our next order of business will be the judicial commissioner election. As you know, we had that last month, and neither candidate got the required number of votes, so we're going to do it again today. The candidates are J.D. Anderson and Bobby Huffman. When the roll is called, please respond with the last name of the candidate that you're voting for. Call the roll now.
Bobby Peters. Keith Ritchie.
J.D. Anderson.
Ron Todd.
Anderson.
Nancy Brown. Anderson. Joel Street.
Mr. Anderson.
Richard Winters.
Anderson.
Ronnie Trivet. Harry Seas.
Huffman.
Charles Montana.
Huffman.
Elsie Castro.
Nice.
Steve Lance.
Huffman.
Tom Evers.
Huffman.
Joanne Blankenship.
Huffman.
Charlie Bayless.
Huffman.
Ken Arden, Steve Chambers,
Anderson.
John Lewis,
Huffman.
Sonia Cole,
Huffman.
Russell Cott,
Huffman.
Scott Sands,
Anderson.
Bill Armstrong,
Huffman.
Robert Goff,
Anderson.
is it on change of
Thirteen Huffman, 8 Anderson. Mr. Huffman, you'll be the new judicial commissioner. You'll see the county clerk after today's meeting. You'll be sworn in. Congratulations. Now, we have some resolutions. A stormwater fine resolution, a stormwater definition resolution, and a water quality management resolution. That's A, B, and C under resolutions. We're going to, if it's all right with you all, D does not require a public hearing. So we'll save that. But at the same time, on number 14, county rezoning, A and B, Highway 91 and Big Springs, they both require a public hearing. So if it's all right with you all, we'll do A, B, and C, and then A and B at the same time for a public hearing. So at this time, we'll go out of our regular meeting and open up a public hearing. Mr. Shue.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to explain these resolutions, or would you like the county attorney to go over those?
Right. First resolution on the stormwater fine resolution. If you look at penalties and enforcement, under the code, the Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation requires us to add the full code in, which would drop, would increase the fine from $50 a day minimum to the maximum of $5,000 a day. That would be the first resolution. That's it in a nutshell. Second resolution is under the best management practices, and basically what we did was amend our resolution, our existing resolution for best management practices, alleviating the date on the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation, Tennessee Erosion and Sedimentation Control Handbook from March 2002 to alleviate that into defining the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation, Tennessee Erosion and Sedimentation Control current edition. Next is mandated through the state of Tennessee. It's once again one of those unfunded mandates. Requires that the covenants be placed on permanent maintenance for the water quality control. This is something that used to fall on our county highway department in a way. Now it puts a developer in line that they will have to maintain that sediment pond or stormwater or ditch lines for a certain period of time. And I already put a bond up for that. These are all three standard resolutions that's required by Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation to meet our MS4 stormwater.
The county attorneys.
County attorneys read, researched, and blessed.
Does anybody have any questions on those three resolutions? Mr. Lewis.
This $50 a day to $5,000 a day?
Give us a minimum of $50 to a maximum of $5,000. It was already in the code. We tried to keep it down to the $50. and the state requires us to adopt the whole code to up to $5,000.
Mr. Lewis, it's a requirement of the MS4 report that it give the range that's available. By no means does this mandate you to find 5,000. It just you have to you have to mirror the code, which is 50 to 5,000, kind of like a criminal code, where it gives a range.
You said he might want to do it for $5,000.
Yes, sir.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Ms. White.
In this agreement, it says the bond in an amount to be determined by Carter County. Does that mean this commission, or does that mean the planning commission? What does Carter County, what does that mean in this?
It's the planning commission office will set that with the judgment of also the highway department on these permanent maintenance.
I think that needs to be defined in here. Because it just says Carter County, and that doesn't tell me or the general public who in Carter County.
Chris, I can make that amendment for you.
Can you fix that?
Yeah. If they'll approve it, then I'll make that change.
The attorney will fix that upon approval, that adjustment.
Do any other commissioners have anything on these three resolutions? Does any of the public have any comments on these three resolutions? All right. Seeing none, we'll go on to the rezoning resolution.
If you'll look in your blue book, Tennessee Erosion Sedimentation Control Manual that is dated August 2012, on the front left corner, there should be information and some maps. For just the general public, I'll open these maps up also on the finger if you'll help me some. If it starts to fall, just grab it. First would be the Highway 91 rezoning. Anyone who lives up Stony Creek has been in that way. Notice this would be the light blue area. The first map you'll see. It's the Ready Mart Meredith rezoning request. It's going from A1 to B3. It's for the highest and best use of that property. There's actually 4 parcels of property that came off the old Sharpen farm, and that's what Ready Mart bought off of Meredith. It went through Carter County Planning Commission with positive approval. It went through, because it is in the urban growth area of the city of Elizabeth, and went through the city of Elizabeth's Planning Commission with positive approval, and staff recommends that it be approved.
Any questions from the commission? Mr. Lewis.
I got one and two. Why are you requesting this be rezoned at this time?
Like I was saying, this is actually, and I'll just draw you a picture here, Johnny, to help you out a little bit. This is actually 4 lots. Something like in that nature. The first building is going on this lot, where this is A1. With a B3, they can do a setback of 10 foot from this property line. They own all 4. All 4 parcels are contiguous with each other. Without that, they're looking at about a 20-foot setback between their buildings. So by upgrading the zoning, that requires more taxes that come in, more support, and then that limits the amount that's spread between those buildings. Does that make sense?
Do they have enough land to go 20 feet?
Say again, sir?
Do they have enough land to put 10 feet, put it 20 feet?
They have, but what you want to do when you're in commercial business like this, you want to utilize your property for the highest and best possible use and the highest and best zoning. They're willing to invest money here in Carter County, and the Planning Commission sees, and for both city and county, sees that if they're willing to invest money, then we're willing to work with them to adjust their zoning. That's what zoning's for, to add or subtract. This whole area, if you look, is B1, B2. You have some A1 across the river, which is approximately about 75 to 80 feet wide. In any given area there that drops down below these lots, you've got some R1 district, but you also got some M1 also, so manufacturing.
Did this take in this set, the one parcel, or put in all 91, Highway 91?
No, sir, it only takes in those 4 parcels that is owned by Meredith originally and then bought by Ready Mart.
Do any citizens have any comments concerning this rezoning issue? Yes, sir, Mr. Dan.
What type of businesses are proposed for those lots, on those lots?
Right now, it's just the Ready Mart that's there.
Any other?
Do you need to open this up for a public hearing?
That's what we're doing right now. Yes, sir.
Now, do you want to go on to Big Springs?
Yes, Big Springs. And you're just a little help over here. We're going to take that first page and just flip it back. Get the tweet. Big Springs rezoning is for the Eastern 8 development. And basically what we're doing there is going from an A1A district, which is agricultural, to an R1 restricted or residential subdivision. The reason that Eastern 8 wants to develop in that particular zone is it protects those lots within that subdivision. As you remember, a lot of that property was Dr. Bronson's. It's been busted up through several different owners during the auctions. It has went through the city of Elizabethton due to the fact that if you'll look on the, looks like a stick coming in off of Big Springs, that is actually in the urban growth area of the city of Elizabethton. This is all county properties here that stands for our planning commission. Has met the criteria of both planning commissions, and the blessing of subdivision has been being developed since the early portion of the summer. They've slowed down on it, waiting for this rezoning request before they can actually start to finish that up and make their deeds.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes, sir.
Did you get your issue settled with Malcolm McKinney?
Yes, sir, most definitely so. Mr. McKinney owns this property in this area, and this is just a flat map. It doesn't show you any topography at all. There's several drainage areas that come down, and Mr. McKinney and I, the engineer and the developer, or the contractor have met, and the developer, and we'll put a small retention basins in these areas here to keep it off Mr. McKinney's property. So yes, they have not done anything since the day we met as far as turning any more dirt up there, so we've been waiting on that. But I've talked to Malcolm, he and I are staying in good contact together.
Chris, I have concerns about that Big Springs Road. It's my understanding that they can go up to 85 homes on this plot, and with that many on that crooked road, and we've already had one recent death on that road not very far from where this intersects. You know, that's a...
Well, actually, Joanne, by dropping from A1 to R1, that increases the lot size. So that limits the number, that decreases the number of home sites that can be built on.
How many home sites are planned for this?
I don't have it in front of me right now, and I apologize for that mispronunciation. I think I want to say there's 36, but I can't remember off the top of my head for the reason. This is one we've been working on, like I said, all summer.
That this is a very narrow road right there, and it's right in a turn, you know, and that road is almost in the creek going into this subdivision.
The road
that goes into where this is proposed is almost in the creek there.
Well, it actually sits out of that. I had a concern with that. Mr. McClellan from Tennessee Environment Conservation Services has been in that area and looking at it. And what you're talking about is, for those that don't understand what Ms. Blankenship's discussing, is this creek bed comes through this property something like this, and it does travel along the two property lines. But the entrance has been approved by TDEC and stormwater controls, and as far as their MS4, they've been in compliance.
Mr. Perkins, don't you think that's a very narrow road?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Chris, will there be entrance off the next branch, Powder Branch Road to that?
No, sir, it doesn't get close enough to that. That's the actual Powder Branch or the Gap Creek portion. The new roads over here, Powder Branch is through Mr. McKinney's property and several other pieces of property that come through. So it's basically blocked off there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dabadek.
I know your planning and zoning regulations do require an impact study be done when you rezone different areas for different usages, especially residential. As Blankenship pointed out, the roads in those areas, I mean, there's a life safety issue right there that she's mentioned.
We did not have an impact fee set up for Carter County at this time.
I'm talking about, Carter County does an impact study to see these roads are, or these areas are, should be developed correctly. I know it's in the zoning regulation, I'll have a copy in front of me. And one other thing I'd like to ask, were the people in these areas notified about this hearing? Or is there going to be another hearing?
No, sir, the hearing is, and it was voted by this county court, that it'll be placed on the property will be notified 30 days prior to the planning commission meeting with signage. It'll be a public notice run in the paper of local distribution, which is Elizabeth and Star, which this one has. It's been actually ran twice due to the fact it took some time to get this aligned. The letters, or excuse me, the signage has been on that property since since 8/13/2012.
So everybody that's impacted by this rezoning has been notified by either letters or notification in paper?
I never said letters. There was signage and also notification through the local paper.
So that's all correct. I appreciate that. The other problem I would, or issue I would have is that a study should be done as far as the roads, if they're compatible with the roads that you are proposing in this area.
And also, the school system needs to be involved. If there's 2 kids per house and there's 85 houses on this lot, what's this going to do to Happy Valley school system?
Mr. McMahon with the local school board, he was made aware of this, and we have discussed that situation. So that was brought up during all their long-range planning.
Any other citizens? Mr. Snell?
Yes, sir. Mr. Schuler, without standing in front of the map, could you show me again where those structures, those homes are going to be built exactly?
It doesn't. I didn't show that to begin with, and due to the fact that it is a subdivision. But the subdivision road travels somewhere like this, and there'll be lots in and out through there.
Just all through that carrot shape?
Through the blue, yes.
Okay.
And it's also my understanding, Chris, that there's a lot of caves on that property. A lot of sinkholes. My brother said that he had mowed hay on there, and he said you had to be real careful or you end up in a big, deep hole.
Throughout the whole MS4 part of the project, when I walked, physically walked the properties and things, I didn't see any problems there. That there is some caveage, looking some karst property there within that wood line and the knoll between McKinney and I think it's a Hyder. Yeah, Hyder. And there is, in that knob area there is some karst property. As far as caves, I didn't see any caves. Maybe down in the lower bottom, there may be some sinkholes and things of that nature. I know when you cross Big Springs and you go back over to where Gary, where some individuals there that own that I know a farm off of. And there is some sinkholes and very karst areas there. You go back over, you head to the east portion of Big Springs where Norman joined dead ends into areas there. There's some closed depressions in that area. But as far as that property, walking, driving that property, I didn't see any problems with it. Other than in that one wooded area that's not really going to be touched.
Yes, sir.
Chris,
Where will the entrance from the subdivision be? On to Big Springs Road?
Yes, sir.
Will there only be one entrance
Yes,
like
sir.
there is at Warrior Estates right there now? I believe Warrior Estates has just the one entrance right there.
Warrior State has multiple. I don't know, if two are.
Got three.
But this one will be a complete entrance?
Yes. One entrance that comes off the Big Springs Road. And that's.
Mr. Lewis?
Don't care, I'd like to back up to that first page, if it's okay, I might have missed it, but who owns that property that you were identifying on the first page?
Who owns it now?
Yes, sir.
This piece here?
Yes.
Ready Mart.
Ready, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Any member of the citizens? Mr. Von Cannon?
Mr. Schuler, has Jack Perkins signed off on the new signage that's going to have to be put in place on that curve? Because it is not necessarily a blind entrance, but it certainly is coming from coming toward Pine Branch Road. Coming toward Pine Branch Road. In that swag, there is a real problem with being able to see quick enough people coming out of that development, Bronson Ridge.
Have you been there in the last few weeks?
Not in the last 3 weeks, no, sir.
Okay. There was a sign that was stuck up there that
Well,
did
I'm
cause
saying
some
that-
blockage.
Has he signed off on the fact that there is a blind entrance there?
No, he's not,
And
and,
there will be need for signage indicating that you gotta watch that exit.
well, in
What do you do?
rezoning
Wait
request.
till after an accident, or do you do that on the first run in?
No, Mr. Perkins has the opportunity to sign those plats prior to the finalization and the registration of those in the county. So they have to meet all his criteria prior to them being finalized.
You need to look at that before you sign off, because there will be a need for a sign there, because making 30 miles an hour with somebody pulling out is gonna be a problem.
It's the first time I've seen my again for a sign.
So you need, I would say, I just advise you look at it before you sign off.
I think that the new road coming in out there at the church, a lot of people are gonna be taking that road as a shortcut that live in Cow Branch area. And I think it's gonna be a very hazardous, we're creating a hazard right here in Carter County.
Well, I'm hoping that, and not to get off the discussion on that, but I'm hoping that the Tester Road connector and going into the McKeon Ridge, those two connectors there onto the new road will relieve a lot of that pressure that's coming out of the middle portion, what I call the middle portion of Powder Branch. It's going to take a lot of straight into the southern connector.
I'd just like to say, I think it's great we've got some development going on. And we need to generate tax money, that's in our district. It helps the schools, it helps the tax base, it's wonderful.
Mr. Guy?
Chris, that new road is gonna be right by that.
It will be probably,
No, it's about half a
no,
mile.
it's probably, yeah, a good half mile away.
Not that far, it's gonna be, well, it's actually farther than I thought. I'm sorry.
It's a good half a mile out there.
I guess, I'm sorry, I thought I went through, it might be closer.
No, it curves around and goes through the old story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Comes right down by the Big Spring Baptist Church.
Mr. Street?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris, the entrance you call the stick, I'm sure that's the entrance to the property. How wide is that roadway there?
I think it's 150 feet.
This right here is 150 feet
Yeah.
wide. Is there anything that the developer can do? I mean, that's a lot of width there to help. I mean, as far as access in and off there.
Well, since the last time you were there, you know, they've actually opened that up and dropped that. So you need to look at it again when you hit church some Wednesday. You head out that way. If you'll go that way, you can look at it and see.
developed where it's dropped down, because that was a very sharp and drop off there on that corner of the property. And it went over, we can't touch so much of that, probably about 60 foot of that we can't touch due to the fact that we have that stream. So that's why we can't push, like Mrs. Blankenship said, you know, there is a stream there. It's actually a spring that feeds out, and it feeds several individuals' livestock all through there.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any other comments from the citizens? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, come back into our regular session. Do we have a motion to approve A and B of the stormwater resolutions?
So moved, suspend the reading of it.
We have a motion to suspend the reading of these resolutions. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Sis. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Now, a motion would be in order to approve the resolutions A and B, and also C with the amendment in number C that Ms. Blankenship pointed out about who these will be reported to as the Carter County. Was that it?
Yep. Yep.
Very good. We'll do it one at a time.
You're gonna do the big break now?
No, we're gonna do the stormwater resolutions first.
Okay, let's do a big break on.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve stormwater fine resolution?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tester, second by Mr. Kite to approve the stormwater resolution. Call the roll, please.
Peter Peters. Steve Richards. Mark Hall. Nancy Brown. No. Joel Street.
No.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Montana.
Aye.
Elsie Testor.
Aye.
Steve Moran.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship.
Aye.
Charlie Bates.
Aye.
Ken Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers.
Aye.
John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Coler. Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
And Robert Goddard.
Aye.
And
18 ayes, motion carried. Now on the stormwater definition resolution, do I have a motion on that?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hodge, second by Mr. Kite. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Peter Peters.
Aye.
Steve Richards. Lawrence Hodge. Nancy Brown. I'm sorry. No. Joel Street.
No.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Montana.
No.
Elsie Testor.
Aye.
Steve Moran.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship.
Aye.
Charlie Bates. Vicky Renfro. Ken Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers. John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Coler.
Aye.
Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Robert Goddard.
No.
Sixteen ayes, motion carried. Now the water quality management resolution with the one amendment. Do I have a motion on that? Second. I have a motion by Mr. Blankenship, second by Mr. Tester. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Peter Peters.
Aye.
Steve Richards. Ron Hodge. Nancy Brown.
No.
Joel Street.
No.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Von Cannon.
Aye.
Elsie Testor.
Aye.
Steve Grant.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship.
Aye.
Ronnie Bailey.
Aye.
Ken Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers.
Aye.
John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Cole.
Aye.
Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands.
Aye.
Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Pat Hicks. And Robert Goff.
Aye.
Eighteen yeses, motion carried. I'd like to just say one thing, that the planning commission, the planning department, the county attorney, and the Tennessee Department of Environment in consultation has worked hard and worked well together. Once we met with those folks, to make everybody understand what was needed and explain everything, just exactly what the state required. And it took a lot of work on everybody's part to get these together, and I appreciate them for that. Now, these county rezoning resolutions, Highway 91, do I have a motion on that?
Don't make a motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Chester, second by Mr. Hodge to approve it. Do I have any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Steve Peters.
Aye.
Steve Ritchie.
Aye.
Ronnie Hodge.
Aye.
Nancy Brown.
Aye.
Joel Street.
Aye.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Von Cannon.
Aye.
Elsie Testor.
Aye.
Steve Grant.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship.
Aye.
Charlie Bailey.
Aye.
Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers.
Aye.
John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Cole.
Aye.
Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands.
Aye.
Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Pat Hicks. And Robert Goff.
Aye.
Five to one.
Only one no, motion carried. Big Springs rezoning, Mr. Richard.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve that with the approval of Mr. Perkins of the Highway Department, saying it is safe to do that.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mr. Ritchie, second by Mr. Kite, to approve this rezoning, pending the approval of the highway superintendent. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Steve Peters.
Aye.
Steve Ritchie.
Aye.
Mark Hodge.
Aye.
Nancy Brown. Joel Street.
Aye.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Von Cannon.
Aye.
Elsie Testor. Steve Grant.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
John Lewis.
Aye.
Charlie Bailey. Ken Arden. Steve Chambers.
Aye.
John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Cole. Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Robert Goff.
Aye.
Only one no, motion carried. Now, we'll go back up to number 13, item D, the rescue squad resolution.
Thank you, guys.
You, Mr. Shute.
Mr. Bowers, would you take over this?
Well, I think Health and Welfare will present, this was just the resolution that we prepared through Health and Welfare attaching the Exhibit A, which was provided by the rescue squad. And Exhibit A has got several items for the commission to consider. The main item from the resolution for the commission to consider and debate is the length of time of the franchise agreement. The requested time was 4 years. The current agreement called for a 90-day, essentially no calls out. So the change here, potentially up from 90 days up to 4 years. Committee recommended 1 year, and that's what's before you today to debate amongst yourselves. And then the actual fee sheet is attached. It's something for you to review as well. I know there's representatives of the rescue squad here today to present their position on the fees they've requested that we acquiesce to, as well as and to maybe demonstrate why they feel they need a longer franchise agreement than we've provided in the past as a commission.
Would Mr. Norris or Mr. Arnold care to address the commission?
We don't. Probably the best way to do this is answer any questions you may have. I think we've been in 2 or 3 committees and talked about it, but primarily this has generated through some history over the last few months of some defunding from the county commission of the rescue squad and some increased costs that just came out of the blue, really, with 911 just coming in and saying, you're going to start paying for those services. That in conjunction with TennCare, Medicaid, Medicare, and other insurance reimbursement rates has changed the financial structure of the rescue squad. Why we want a 4-year exclusive agreement is for a few reasons. One, we need to go restructure our loans, and I think we get better terms if we have a 4-year deal with the county saying we're going to be here operating for 4 years versus 90 days or a year. 2, with all the publicity that's been in the newspaper, we have some employees that are kind of nervous about is the rescue squad going to be here or not going to be here. They move and go to Johnson City, go to other counties for more stability, so we like to have some stability. And we need to do some internal changing with the rescue squad with different structures and different ways that you spend money and different cost savings. We're going to think outside the box in order to get that done. What we want to do is have 4 years to restructure, get stability in the organization, restructure some loans, shift some of the costs to the people actually using the rescue squad versus the cost of a county as a whole, and hopefully come back each year and ask for a budget reduction, and hopefully at the end of that 4 years come back and say, we don't need any money from the county. We're going to be self-sufficient, self-supporting, and we're going to be our own. That's our plan. We recognize that the county financially is going to have some hard times in the next few years. It's just one of those avenues that you've got a rescue squad that's volunteer, that's nonprofit, not volunteer, it's nonprofit, used to be volunteer. We can't operate as a volunteer anymore because of the insurance requirements and just trying to get volunteers to staff things like that. Are going to come to this county commission if the plan works and we have some stability and ask for a budget reduction. I don't know how many organizations have ever come and asked this county commission for a budget reduction and trying to get on their own and not ask for any funding from the county. That's what we're asking for. And I'll take any questions. The fee sheet in there are primarily fees that are not being charged now. We've come up with some fee schedules to try to reimburse out-of-pocket expenses so we can shift some of that burden off the county onto the individuals that are using it. It's just a way to make up some of that money that was coming from the county in the past.
Mr. Knowles?
Yes, sir.
Number 1 is, I think we need a rescue squad. Now, number 2 is, as a businessman, you go down and borrow money at the bank, the more varsity or whatever you got contracts put up for security, the bank will loan you more money on something that you don't own no security on. Like when I was paying rent, I couldn't borrow no money now. Since I got to be on the paper, I can borrow money. But if we ain't careful here in this commission, we're going to group up and let the squad leave this county. And if it does, then we're going to have to start privatizing this stuff. And I know a lot of you think it will work, but it won't. You look at some of these other counties, states that's got these privatizing law departments, police departments, and all this stuff. It's just like you got a security place, you are a security group to look at the building. The chief would have the sheriff if it could, other than all the security group. So it's got advantage and disadvantage, but I think it'd be a good thing to give them at least a 3-year contract, where they can go ahead and organize and, if what they're saying is approved, then after about 3 years, we won't have to give them no money to talk. And I think it'd be a good investment.
And that's our plan. And that plan only works if the rescue squad and this county commission are working together. If we're not working together, that will not work. And on the privatization of the rescue squad does not want that to happen. They want to be here. It's this county's investment for the last 61 years putting that place up there. And the people utilize it, the people own it, the people have invested in it. And if another organization comes in, it ain't gonna be up there, it's gonna be someplace out of state. All the money's gonna go out of state. It's gonna be for profit. And there's history on what happens to counties that end up in that situation. Why most counties will end up in that situation is because they don't have a rescue squad like you have currently up there now. What we're just simply trying to do is get self-sufficient. So, and shift some of the cost to the people that are utilizing the service versus the county as a whole.
Any other discussion? Mr. Capp?
There was an incident happened here just about 2 weeks ago. Lady was in the hospital with Elizabeth. Lived out on St. Phil, about 3 miles from the hospital.
Is that sound?
I don't remember Bill Trump about this, but I'm not speaking.
We can't discuss any names or anything like that. That scenario just doesn't, okay, here's what typically happens, it doesn't get charged or billed that way, that's cash up front. They provide the services, and if the hospital says, you need to take this person home, they call the rescue squad. I don't know of any instances where the rescue squad's gonna say, we're not gonna charge you, we're not gonna transport you unless you pay us cash up front. That doesn't sound like, that's not the standard operating procedure.
This is what happened now. What I was told that.
Mr. Armstrong, do you have a question?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Mr. Armstrong, do you have a question? Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion, sir.
Just a second.
Yeah, it probably already has been answered, but I probably already know the answer too. But if this resolution is approved today and these things, these go into effect today or tomorrow, will this affect the allocations for the budget that for the rest of the year for the rescue squad? The balance of that allocation is like $78,200. Does that cease with this resolution?
No, sir. No, not this time.
Okay.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we remove the word exclusive out of this contract.
I have a motion from Mr. Arnie and a second by Mr. Goff to remove the word exclusive from this contract. Any discussion? Mr. Goff.
Because it's monopoly.
Well, that would void the resolution entirely. The way it's worded at the very beginning sentence, you have to have a different resolution.
I don't know about that. It'd just be a resolution to give them permission to operate ambulance service in Carter County. And which means that next week or next month, whatever, we can give somebody else permission to operate ambulance service in Carter County. We can give 2 or 5 or 10 deputies permission to operate a ambulance service in Carter County. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Sir?
Now, we had a second ambulance service one time in this county. And it just didn't pan out. They stayed, what, 2 or 3 years? It just didn't pan out. They had to go out and get this county, the insurance they had to pay on the ambulances, the insurance had to pay on the employees. Don't know all the details, but I know they're not here now.
Well, you're correct, we did have, at one time, have another ambulance service. We had 2 going at the same time. I don't know what confusion or problems that may present to 911 when somebody has a wreck or gets shot or breaks a leg or whatever. When you call 911 and say we need an ambulance, I don't know if they put them on a rotating basis or if the caller would have to specify which ambulance service that they desired or what. So, that's all I know about that.
Mr. Chairman, I might be able to help the commission on that.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen. The for-profit ambulance service will come in and take all the calls that they generate funds for. They're going to deny all the calls. They're going to help the citizens of this county. That's what will happen. And the Carter County Rescue Squad will stay as long as they can, try to do as much as they can for very low funds. And the for-profit one is going to be for-profit, and that's it. And they're going to look at the bottom line, and that's all they're going to look at. That's not what this rescue squad's doing. This rescue squad's looking out for the best interest of this county and trying to, and responding to every single call, not picking and choosing. No matter how far away it is, or what's going on, or who they're going to go help. They go to all of them. That's what you're going to get into if you go to for-profit.
Any other questions? Mr. Arnold?
Mr. Chairman, at the rates that they charge, you can hire the highest priced limousine and go to the hospital.
Mr. Chester?
When I was at the academy, Davidson County, the one at Powell, they had one that did going on down there, and I actually ran over some people in the road because, when you got an emergency, you need to know somebody that's trained, somebody there, and you don't need competition. Why are we afraid of this rescue squad? They've been here for 61 years. Why? I mean, we know these people, they're local people. Why are we afraid to give them a contract? Why are we afraid to let them? We have 2 choices. We can let them pay, or we can fund it. The non-emergency stuff, like we do it. At one time, we was giving them an excess, I don't know the exact figures, but $300,000 a year. Now we cut that down to somewhere around $100,000 because of the insurances. And, I understand the problem is let them have a contract. And if they, like I said, at the end of this contract, it's 2 years or 3 years, if they don't like their services, we don't have to be up. I don't see a problem with it because the people, we know these people. We know what we're capable of. I work with these people, And sometimes they complain about what Mr. Holloway says. Sometimes he's an air traffic controller. We've shut the road down. I've been part of that many times. He takes control, and I don't know who else does, but I know he does. And he lands out a helicopter in the middle of a 4-lane highway after it's been shut down and put emergency, bleeding people, shot people, wounded people on that thing and fly them to the hospital. And it's, I don't think they make too much. I really don't. I think they should work with these people and see that every day they save lives, regardless of weather, regardless of what goes on. And I don't see a problem with it. We know these people and give them a contract.
Anything else? Mr. Street?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know Mr. Arney's got a motion on the table, but this 1-year term, what's the time frame? Does that start next budget year, or does that start as of now?
I would imagine it would start unless we have some caveat or some condition from the commission. It'll start once we sign the agreement.
So this contract's going to come up every year if approved today, not with our budget cycle. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be correct. course, we can do what we done in the last healthcare contract, which is call maybe for some language for a second renewal to be just a few months to get it everything lined up for that July 1st, which we've been trying to do on all our contracts. It's been a good move by the commission. There's ways around that, Mr. Street, as far as we can amend that to get it, to handle that concern. And it's a good concern to address.
Have a motion on the floor. The motion is to eliminate the word exclusive in the rescue squad contract. All in favor? Let's call the roll on that. Madam Clerk.
River Peters. Keith Ritchie. Ron Todd.
No.
Nancy Brown. No. Joel Street.
No.
Richard Winters.
No.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
No.
Charles Montana.
No.
Elsie Tester.
No.
Steve Moran.
Aye.
Bob Allen.
No.
Joanne Blankenship.
No.
Charlie Bates.
No.
Dickie Redrow. Ken Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers. John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Coler.
No.
Russell Cott.
No.
Scott Sands.
No.
Bill Armstrong.
No.
Robert Goff. I'm sorry.
You say yes, Robert?
Yes.
Fifteen noes, motion failed. Mr. Lewis?
Mr. Moderator, I go ahead and make a motion that we give the rescue squad a 4-year contract. And, let's get on with it.
I'll second.
Just a minute. The Health and Welfare Committee approved a 1-year contract. Is that the motion that you'd like to make, Ms. Blankenship, or not?
That was the motion coming from the committee. That was to get it to the commission.
Okay. So, you made a motion to approve a 4-year contract, and Mr. Brown seconded.
Just like we get that in the paper here.
Okay. Any discussion? I don't believe it's written up that way, Mr. Lewis. I believe it's written up as a 1.
Well, I know that, but that's what the original rescue squad asked for.
Okay, Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would here give the rescue squad a 4-year contract. If they could assure me that they wouldn't come back and sue the citizens of this county that use that rescue squad if their insurance pays so much. There are people, now I represent the 6th district, but I also represent the whole county. There are people out here right now that are afraid, and I'm talking about a lot of elderly people, that are afraid to call the rescue squad. Because they know that their Medicare won't pay what the rescue squad's going to charge. And they'll get a bill in the mail, and and I think it's a great organization. I commend Mr. Harmon and the squad of what they do. But I would like to have some assurances that if we go to a 4-year contract, that they're not going to come out here and bring lawsuits against the people of this county that use it. Especially people that can't afford it. There's some people that just can't afford, that may need the rescue squad, that just can't afford to pay for it. They don't have the funds to pay for it. So I think we need to take that into consideration. I have no quality. I can go with a 4-year contract, but in return, you let me know that you all are not going to sue the citizens of this county that can't afford to pay their bills.
I can't remember if you've been in some of those committees that I've been in and talked or not.
Yes, I have.
Now, I think Mr. Thompson, Governor Elizabeth Stars here, but I've said it over and over and over. Any citizen or any non-citizen that gets an invoice from the rescue squad has the absolute authority under our guidance up there that we've established to go up there and fill out an application for assistance, okay? If they don't have the funds or if they are indigent, fill out the form, it'll be reviewed. If they can't pay, that bill's wrote off. But they've got to make the step and go up there and apply. We use the exact same scale as the health department in this county to determine as to whether or not they have the funds and ability to pay, okay? So that's one thing. The second thing is all fees are guided by Medicare. You can't go out there and charge $2,000. They're all Medicare. You have to be under the Medicare guidelines. They come in and audit. So the fees have to be within the Medicare guidelines in order to be charged to begin with, so the fees can't be way out there. The third thing is any business that has to rely on money to operate has to have the ability to file suit. Otherwise, their days are limited. That's why we started filing suit about 2 years ago. It started to do some more aggressive collections because nobody was paying their bills. Nobody. Attorneys were settling cases and giving all the money to the, they'd get the money from the insurance company, they'd settle the case and give the money to the person that got injured in the car wreck. No money coming to the rescue squad. I sent a letter out to every attorney in this whole area saying, please start paying the rescue squad because we're going to have to start filing suit on folks that don't pay their bills to get money from an insurance company on a motor vehicle accident. And that started changing. But the key there is if someone doesn't have the ability to pay, they're up in age, and their funds are limited, or they're just indigent, come to the rescue squad, fill out the form, 20 pages of it, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, and it talks about financial stuff primarily. And the decision's made, how quick?
Within a week. So
within a week. There's numerous people that go up there and they've had the decision said, you don't owe us a dime, it's zero. We're still there for residents, but we still got to be able to survive so we can go to the next call. That's what happens, I think, if you don't have a nonprofit rescue squad and you have multiple rescue squads or one for profit, is the folks that can't pay, those other rescue squads are not going on those calls. We're going on every single call. We don't pick and choose. Every one of them.
Mrs. Keller, go ahead.
Question, the charge list that we have, is that for the duration of the contract? Be it a year or 4 years? Or?
I wouldn't anticipate those fees changing, just because that's kind of, if the costs go way up on some unforeseen, those are primarily, a lot of them are just man hours and gas related. There's not out-of-pocket expenses, a lot of that. The only one that I would anticipate that goes up is there's one on there for meth labs. If that continues to be ongoing and it gets more expensive to do things to decontaminate those individuals, that one's kind of, nobody really knows what's going on.
If y'all permit me to ask one question, would, on your charge list, you've got, you're going to charge the county $150 for transporting a deceased person. You're going to charge the county $150 to transport a prisoner from the Charter County Jail to the hospital. It seems to me, and I'll tell you right now, I will not vote for a contract where you're going to charge the county for giving you an exclusive contract to operate. That should be part of the price of doing business. It should be worth that to you or company A or B or C to throw that in to get an exclusive contract. That has a dollar value, in my opinion. And I would hope that the rest of y'all would see that and agree with me on that.
I'd like to add a little of that too. We're already funding $100,000.
We're good. Mr. Richard.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't want to get mixed up in this. Mr. Arnold and I, we worked a lot together. I spent 17 years in that rescue squad as a volunteer. That rescue squad went in order in 1950. A little bit after 1950. I went in 1958, long before Mr. Arnold left. We did a lot of work. We was all supported by volunteer donations. Tried to get in to United Way, old Raytheon, all that. They wouldn't have us. Mr. Arnold knows that. When long we come along, if we can go with 1-year contract and you perform like you say you're going to, then why are you afraid of it? Then we can renew it in 1 year. You see, give you a little more. Because I know, that's why I'm going to vote against that word a minute ago, exclusive. This rescue squad has come a long way. And when they went to charging people for services, I'd like to know, Mr. Harvey, way back on, we, the sheriff's department, we've done the rescue part. We've done the ambulance service, done the medical part. What's two different things in here now about the rescue squad? Who does the search and rescue, and who does the transporting and does the medical part? What happened to the contract that John Henson, when he was sheriff, with the rescue squad, that he did the search and rescue? You all signed the contract, you all do it. Now, there's something missing here. And, you know, if you do well in a 1-year contract, then why are you afraid of it? We can review it in 1 year and you go right in.
I can answer a couple of those things. County used to give the rescue squad $300-some thousand to take that responsibility away from the sheriff's department. And this discussion didn't come from necessarily us. This discussion and us asking for this came from the actions of the county commissioner in 911 putting some financial pressure on us. That's where it started. If this budget cycle, 911 never come about or never started charging. And first they charged us, first it was $140,000, we negotiated down to $60,000. And the county commissioner would have just done what they did last year and done $224,000 again. I wouldn't be standing here right now. It's nothing that the rescue squad's actually coming to you guys and saying, hey, we want to talk about this. We're trying to stay afloat, and we're coming to you and say, please help us. We understand the financial conditions of the county. We understand you all need to defund us and give us less money and give that money somewhere else. And I've raised my hand and said, I think I have a solution to that, but you got to help us. And if all we're going to talk about is going back to the volunteer way, it ain't like that anymore. It's nothing anywhere close to that anymore. Now we have to charge for those services in order to stay afloat, and that's just the reality of it. So that's the portion of why search and rescue is at the rescue squad. The sheriff's department just couldn't do it anymore.
When this county gives the rescue squad $300,000 a year, they opened up their books. And this county commission, whoever the county commission was then, knew their finances and knew how they were operating. When Mr. Arnold closed the books, said we don't have to show you nothing because we didn't contribute over 51% to that. He didn't have to open it. So that's what started the whole thing. Somewhere along the line, somebody is afraid to show somebody something.
We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, if I can finish answering that one question.
All right.
On the 4-year deal, if you went and told your Food City employees down there at Food City, you don't know if you're going to be here in a year or not, would you all stay?
Well, you know, if you do your job, you know you're going to stay.
No, the business. If the business only has 1 year, I'm talking about the employees, not the supervision. The employees, if you tell them all these, that's what's happening. We're spending lots of money retraining people because the uncertainty of the rescue squad due to the publicity that's been in the paper. Not necessarily this commission. I've said stuff. I've done things wrong. They've done things wrong. I'm not trying to put blame. I'm just telling this the understanding of the employees at the rescue squad right now is they're real nervous and they're jumping ship. Every time one jumps ship, we bring them up, we spend more money, and that's that much further away from coming off of the budget at Carter County. So the 4 years is to help us get a better terms on a note that we need to refinance, give stability to the organization as a whole, and show our employees that we're going to be here for a while. All we got to do is do the things right. And and try to come back with a plan that I will ask for less money and get off this county commission budget.
Actually, you've been operating under a 90-day contract
Correct.
for years and years. So a one-year contract would be a leap forward as far as borrowing money. But
I think we're operating under a 90-day contract that nobody understood, nobody realized, and certainly the community employees didn't realize that.
thank you. We have a motion on the floor. We have a question on the motion for a 4-year contract.
Yeah, you need to say something.
Can I
Yes.
speak to one thing? The last 2 items on this charge list
Yes.
are not in the 12-13 budget. There's no provisions for those. And that would be coroner transports and prisoner transports. So I need to make you aware that if you approve this charge list, you have 2 items that are not budgeted.
Mr. Chairman,
I mentioned those items.
I'd like to make a motion that we table that 4-year motion and come back with a 1-year contract with what's in the packet.
We'll have to do the table first. Motion to table.
Do what the committee recommended. They recommended 1 year. And I think that's what we should do.
We have a motion to table. Do we have a second?
I think the motion to table it, so.
You did make a motion to table, right?
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Arnold, second. I'll roll with
Buford Peters.
Aye.
Steve Ritchie.
Aye.
Art Todd.
Aye.
Nancy Brown. No. Joel Street. I'm sorry.
Aye.
Richard Green.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Montana. No. Elsie Tester.
No.
Steve Moran.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship.
Aye.
Charlie Davis.
Aye.
Dickie Renfro. Ken Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers.
Aye.
John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Coler.
Aye.
Russell Cott. Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong. Robert Goff.
Mr. Ritchie, you have a motion?
To do the 1-year contract like the budget said, like the agenda says.
All right, would you make any amendments to that?
Yeah, take that word out.
Well, we've already voted on taking that word out. I was talking about the charges to the county for the coroner's transports and to the jail prisoner transports. That's not in our budget, so
Well, okay, I'll amend my budget, my motion to that. Take that. Take
to
that.
leave that out and not pay that. We have a motion by Mr. Ritchie, second by Mr. Sands, to approve a 1-year contract and leave that, not to include any charge to the county for coroner transports or prisoner transports. Any discussion? Mr. Von Camp.
I'd like to know what the dollar amount has been in transporting prisoners in the past. What is your number?
How much the county's paid?
That, no, what they paid, the amount of dollar value that would amount to an average year in transporting prisoners.
$4 or $5 a month.
How much?
20 or 25,000 max.
How can this group ask them, how can you ask them to do that for nothing?
Because if this is approved, they'll receive an exclusive contract. If you sell Kentucky Fried Chicken, you pay the colonel
That's
to
holding,
sell that chicken, he don't pay you.
sir, that's holding them ransom.
Number that's business, and that's county taxpayer money. Now, any other comment, discussion?
Question.
Question on the motion, call the roll.
Buford Peters. Steve Ritchie. Art Todd. Nancy Brown. No. Joel Street.
Aye.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt. Harry Seas. Charles Montana.
Pass.
Elsie Testor. Steve Grant.
Aye.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joanne Blankenship.
Aye.
Charles Davis.
Aye.
Ken Arden.
No.
Steve Chambers. John Lewis.
No.
Sonia Cole.
Aye.
Russell Cott.
Aye.
Scott Sands.
Aye.
Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
And Robert Goff.
Aye.
You want to change your vote?
I'll change to aye.
18 ayes, motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Ms. Blankenship.
Well, Mr. Bowers addressed they took out those two things.
Yes, ma'am.
And the resolution says that the rescue squad sets the fees. Can we dictate to them?
Ms. Blankenship, I believe, hold on one second.
It says in there, it addresses that that's the rescue squad sets the fee, not the county commission.
This is just our proposal. They still have to agree to sign it, then it's not mandatory on them.
Under section 5, Ms. Blankenship, we added its language in that states that the commission recognizes it cannot approve or disapprove fees. The rescue squad operates as a third-party nonprofit or not a third-party independent corporation. The rescue squad just asked that we acquiesce these fees. They want to demonstrate their potential to charge these fees because of the exclusive franchise agreement. They want us to recognize those. We couldn't mandate those fees, either lower or higher. That's up to them as a business. And I'll delete those two from the final draft. Pursuant to commission.
Mr. Norris, will we know your answer in any amount of time?
I have to talk.
You'll get back to us on
We've
it.
got a board meeting tomorrow night, so we'll get back to you.
Thank you. All right, the county attorney report.
Several things worked on this month. First being the committee hearings for the rescue squad resolution. She just considered work on that this month. The industrial bond board check issue that I addressed last month in closed session was resolved, and to the benefit of the industrial bond board, everything was returned. So that issue is taking care of itself for now. I've worked some with road superintendent this month, and Mr. Schuler, we've met concerning potential for road right-of-ways. We're working out one last property owner, then I'll begin preparing road right-of-ways for the construction of a bridge in the county that we have a grant to construct. Working on a couple of, two new stormwater resolutions that we've pulled into one. We passed 3 this month, but these are all required after my meeting with Brown Patton and with Mark Braswell. And it's something we gathered from our last meeting as far as finding out exactly what the Tennessee Department of Corrections. I know, I've been on jail too long. The TDEC has required as far as to get us in compliance on MS4. There was one additional change that had to be made to our zoning regs. I just got the initial draft from Mr. Schuler today, and he plans to take that to Planning Commission next month. After my last conversation with Brown Patton, that should be the last resolution that I need to prepare to present to Planning and to County Commission to satisfy the MS4 requirements. Began drafting on a private act for Parks and Rec Committee that was requested at their last meeting, and Commissioner Peters is working on that with us. And to get a draft back to them, they're going to give a recommendation to the full commission once we get there. We get their initial review. We began reviewing some landfill bid information that was brought to us. Just got that and getting started on that and have that done before next month as well. Have had some continued action in the Harris inmate case that I brought to your attention last month in a litigation update. Received additional demand letter from the attorney for the plaintiff. They have not filed suit yet, but a demand letter has been advanced, and I've advanced that to our carrier. If you would like, I'll be glad to do another closed session to give you greater detail on what's in the demands of the county. But at this point, consent has been turned over to our carrier. I don't want to do that in a public hearing at this point. It is litigation, and since they've retained counsel, it's certainly something we see litigation being filed on in the next couple of months. I've worked this month with Attorney Brandy Burnett and Mr. Schuler as far as getting the final corrections and changes made to stipulations. Attorneys on the Ice House case have asked for some additional changes to the language. Ms. Burnett, trying to protect the county's interests, has contacted us, and we did a phone conference with Mr. Schuler. And I think we'll have a final draft of those completed. It appears the case is going to be argued on motion and not at a full trial, as it is pretty well now down to legal issues, and get in front of the chancellor for his final decision. As soon as the final pieces of the scheduling order are completed, then at that point he'll be ready to proceed to a hearing. Have begun work on and got some changes, and only awaiting now some changes back from Roger Day with the city on the animal shelter construction contract, and that should be done as soon as I hear from Roger Day. And he called me on Friday afternoon and hadn't had a chance to tell the mayor that call late on Friday afternoon, and should have those, he thinks, reviewed today. The Milgram College bond issue, we completed our public hearing through the Industrial Bond Board, and that hearing went real well. The county also completed allowing the mayor to sign his documents for that meeting, as well as Mr. Phil Isaacs to sign the initial resolution. The thing is not completely closed at this point. It's in the hands now of the attorneys who are doing the bond issue. It's still anticipated to close this week. We had our public hearing early last week. As soon as they contact me, I'll have Chairman Phil Isaacs and Carol Chase, the Secretary of the Bond Board, meet in my office to sign off on the final documents. And once that final sign-off is done, then we'll be completed. Still, we were told at the public hearing, anticipated closing today, but I've not heard anything yet to call Mr. Isaacs or Chairman Isaacs in, so I imagine it's still just a couple of days, but we still certainly hope and pray it'll be before Thanksgiving. During the month, reviewed the fingerprint resolution, the kiosk agreement. There's a couple of things already voted on. Work on the resolutions for today, and then another thing that took some considerable time this month, but was a good resolution with the help of Chairman Bowers and Commissioner Blankenship and her expertise reviewing things. Ingrid and the sheriff, we completed negotiations and finalized the final language in the jail healthcare contract. That thing was sent back and forth 3 or 4 times, but they were reasonable, made the changes we requested, and we got a final document, a final resolution that Ingrid and the sheriff are both signed. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. Now we'll have our public comments. Anybody like to address the commission? Mr. Livingston.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think the few of you out here have been through staying here and watching this operation. They're showing you the continued hatred toward the mayor or anybody objects to the majority of this commission. You've got 4 or 5 years and still continues to try to hit the taxpayers of this county. And the rest of them continue, appears here, to show the hatred they have. They continue to lay it to the taxpayers. They don't think they should have any rights. I showed you here on the public comments earlier. They continue to hold fast. You're laying some groundwork for your next election with a paper trail that's showing how you distrust the taxpayers and you hate for them to be in this room. And I've told you before, in my opinion, the hatred will destroy you. You continue to do that. And I think your chairman, they showed here with the rescue squad, they got the same treatment. They showed you exactly whatever this chairman right here tells them they're going to do. You seem like you're sheep, you're lost, that you can't make your own personal decisions. And I tell you, when this happens, it's total destruction. You're just destroying yourselves. That's my opinion, from what I see. Everybody that I talk to, the majority here thinks the same reasons. You just don't have it together. You don't know what to do. You seem like you're lost. Mr. Burris is your shepherd. You're your sheep. You've got 4 or 5 here that really tries. They tried. This county's not went one step forward in the last 6 years that I can see. You do a few small things around, which is no comparison to what you need to do. Now, something else here. I noticed here, maybe I got the wrong picture, maybe not. In the landfill situation, I didn't know that any organization here was for profit. It's my understanding from just what I picked up, and I'll let Ms. Blankenship, when I get through here, explain this. I didn't know that any profit that come from anything in this county was to be divided up amongst what you consider to be top CEOs and their friends. It seems like that's what you're laying the groundwork here for. I think the 81 Act, to my knowledge, is still in effect, is it not?
Yes.
When I get done, I'd like for her to explain something here. But I appreciate your time and help. Ms. Blankenship, if you don't care to explain to this crowd, to these people, if there's anything in that 81 Act that allows this county any income they have over and above their expenditures, where it's supposed to go. It's my understanding it's supposed to go back to the general fund. If anybody needs money beyond what they were budgeted, then they come back to the budget committee, the finance committee, and then the commission. You distribute it to them. You know, this is a business process here, and it seems to me like that you're bypassing what the business process and financial process is. If there's any provisions in that 81 Act, if Ms. Blankenship can explain it to us, it'd be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. You can address that at the next Financial Management Committee, Ms. Blankenship. As you know, this is not a question and answer session. Mr. Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick points I'd like to say to my representative here. I really appreciated very intelligent points and questions that you were asking, addressing to Mr. Taylor. I thought those were very, very well thought out. And sir, I believe it was you, was it not, that mentioned that the books had been closed to the public? I just think that everybody here needs to be aware. I've been working in nonprofit, well, my entire adult life. Unless something has changed, and the attorney here might be able to address this better, but unless something has changed that I'm unaware of, in order to obtain the 501c3 status and to maintain that, any nonprofit must be able to immediately give you a copy of their mission statement, give you a copy of their bylaws, and give you a copy of their financial statements, unless something has changed that I'm unaware of. So what I'm telling you is a nonprofit cannot close their books to this county.
They did.
Well, I'm just saying there are actions that are available to you, because in order to maintain a 501c3 status or nonprofit status, you cannot, anyone in this room can walk in their office and say, I need your financial statements for last year. And they can't, and a nonprofit, a true nonprofit, cannot refuse it. Is that not correct, Attorney Bauer?
I think that probably the whole of what Mr. Ritchie's asked for is not more than just a financial statement. I'll let Mr. Ritchie speak. I think he's asking for salaries, but I don't know.
That's included in a financial statement.
If we present them 51% of their budget, they have to, and we don't give them 50%, then he can close the book.
And that's my point exactly. A nonprofit, doesn't matter whether you're giving them 51 or 21. A nonprofit cannot refuse anyone to see their books.
Well, they're not, let me explain this to you. They're not no longer a nonprofit. They are a private entity.
Oh, I see. I thought someone had mentioned nonprofit. Okay. My apologies. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. Any other public comments? Mr. Davidan?
Here, I want to say one thing. I appreciate what the commission has done as far as recycling. I think it's a great idea and a great thing for this community. And hopefully it will continue growing. I mean, Miss Caller, Commissioner Caller, said it may take up to 10 years. Other counties have taken that long to get it up to where we want to be today. However, these other counties, they went through the trials and errors of recycling. And I think if we use their examples and not try to reinvent the wheel as far as recycling, we can achieve this a lot quicker. However, if we're going to take the money earned from recycling and use it for other things, such as bonuses for a few county employees, I think it's very discriminatory towards the other county employees. And if those county employees that we have mentioned need those bonuses, there must be something wrong with their wage rates and their benefits package. I think the proper time to address that would be in a budget hearing, having the department heads, such as the school board, present you that budget and explain to you why those employees need additional monies to maintain a standard of living, which they deserve. So the money spent should be reinvested. I mean, the money we take in should be reinvested into recycling to achieve that goal, that 10-year goal that the Commissioner Caller spoke about in a quicker way, in a more efficient way. There's going to be a lot of needs here. We've got to, if we're going to grow this recycling program, you need dumpsters, you need equipment, trucks, crushers. The landfill was mentioned that its equipment is old and used. It's going to have some needs on that end, certainly. And that money is going to come from the taxpayers again. You're going to have to go back to the general fund. Our tax dollars are going to be used for that. When the monies that are we making on recycling should be put into a fund, back into the general fund, with the intent of using it towards those means. So I think that you've done a disservice to the citizens as a whole in this community. I think that money is being misappropriated. Unfortunately, you've decided to do so, but I would hope that sometime in the future that you would reconsider your actions taken today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davidan. Any other comments from the citizens? Mr. Bowers?
Veterans Day is just passed and Thanksgiving is upon us. And I want to do a short reading. This is written by Robert Bob White, citizen here. He was a Vietnam veteran. And I feel like that it was important to tie them both in together because we need to remember that when we sit down and give thanks, we need to think of the other people as well because some don't get to come home this Thanksgiving where they're at. There's some people that when they give the ultimate sacrifice will never come back for Thanksgiving or any other time. And he wrote this while he was in Vietnam. My grandmother in the 60s clipped it out of the paper and laminated it. Bring it in? Okay. And my grandmother would clip out everything that would touch her heart and stick in her Bible. I transcribed it to where I can actually read it. It is called America is Still Free. Down through the years, there have been many men with many lonesome nights and faraway land to spend. They sat there wondering, just as I wonder too, if the day will ever come when it will all be through. I hate this place, the loneliness, the roar of the big guns, but I know in my heart it's a job that must be done. I miss all my friends, all my loved ones so dear. As I sit here, I wonder if ever again they will be near. Oh, I know there are others far worse off than I, but it seems such a pity that so many men must die. Thousands of soldiers with courage so rare, knowing not why this burden they must bear. But they fight on bravely both day and night, because they know in their hearts that this is right. They love their country, America so free. If it is to stay so, then this surely must be. Then one day you will look up and find your 12 months are over. You finally served your time. You only have memories now of the many long nights. Someone has replaced you to carry on the fight. You still wonder as you approach home if in 12 months your replacement will go on. You can only hope for the best, but for what it will be now. But for now, America is still free. Remember these men and women when you sit down and Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Any other public comments? Commissioner comments. Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, I've got a complaint. My neighbor came down here this morning. He was just about 10:30 because it took work on. He's got something wrong with him. But anyway, I hope that Mr. Hicks will be here. He's the chairman of the cable committee. And he'll go back, the county had a contract coming due. And they decided to go with the state other than the county for their contract. So I called Nicely and talked to a lady down there that's over this thing. And I told her I thought it was wrong for the cable committee and Nicely to bypass us on this cable thing. I said, who do we complain to? She said, we complain to me. I said, well, are you going to send all the citizens in Carter County, go name and address and call them to complain to them? I said, no, you ain't going to. But I said, that leaves us in kind of a predicament. This gentleman had to make 5 trips last month to Great Station because of cable. Right? And he ain't the only one in my district that had to go about the cable company. Now, I'd like to make a motion here that a lawyer, there got to be some way that we can stop the state from coming in over our heads here to have a contract with the cable company and bypassing us completely. I don't think it's legal that they can do that, since it's in our county, the cable company coming in here. Now, they haven't got so much responsibility also. But now you can call them, you walk back and take one of my challenge off. I called him and said, why did you do this? Well, they took a survey. I said, well, who did you survey? You didn't survey me. Did you survey the deadbeats, the Mexicans, the colored people? Who did you survey? But anyway, you can get the cable channel back, but you got to buy another package to get it back for more money. Now, I don't think this is right, and I think we should fight the state on this thing to protect the citizens. And I'm going to make a motion that we get the law to look into it.
Mr. Lewis, I agree with the gist of your motion, but I believe the appropriate motion would be to refer this to the appropriate committee.
Communications.
So, wait just a minute. The utilities committee, and have them look at it, and if they decide for Mr. Bowers to look into it, they can direct him. I don't believe it'd take a motion to ask the county attorney to research something, but that's up to you.
Okay, now, I'm on the cable committee, but Mr. Hicks is chairman of it, and he said this guy won't call him back. That's over the cable company, that he decided to go nicely to get a contract and bypass us completely. Now, what did that leave the committee in?
I'm not on that committee. I don't know.
Well, if the guy don't call us back, we need to take some kind of action to protect the people.
John, I can't help you there, but I do know that
before Charter Communication had a contract with the county. And, they were set to renew the contract with Comcast. Bypassed the county last time. Comcast went to the state and got their, cable franchise to the state. And apparently, Charter Communications has done the same thing this year. They bypassed the county and went to the state. According to, all that I can gather, the non-professional teacher said it is illegal. It may not be ethical, but it is illegal as far as.
I'll do it free of charge.
Yeah, but we ain't court casing it. It might not be legal.
Mr. Lewis, I believe all you'd have to do is, just ask the county attorney to look into this. It won't require a motion, but, I believe the county attorney would be happy to look into,
I'll make a call on it. I won't charge the county, but I'll make a call, state issue, and see what I can find out.
Mr. Williams would be glad to intervene at the state level for us.
I think you're quite correct. Any other commissioner comments? If not, I have one. I've been asked by several commissioners and county office holders, and I have checked with the county attorney and the finance director, and have ascertained that there is no statutory reason for us to meet in December, and there's no financial reason for us to meet in December. Therefore, the December meeting will be canceled, and our next meeting will be the 21st day of July, 2003. January. I can't read it on that.
That is a holiday.
21st?
Yes.
What is it? Excuse me, the 22nd day of July.
Keep going, Joe. Just keep going. You get it right.
The 22nd day of January, 2013. Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving and a great Christmas. Thank you.